Hello, 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 hello. How are we doing today? We got one there so far, one like. That's good. Very good, very good, very good. Now let's get on going. Alright, we gotta get this thing right here. And just a. Hit the like button, like and share it out. Everybody walks in, we all hit the like button. You too, lifters. I'll teach three in life.
Gain of function research, and for lying about saying that we did not pay for and conduct gain of function research. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Shout out to the Quad Club, my people that watch 4 videos a day. Thank you. You help keep the lights on. I love hearing from you in the chat. You guys really make my day. I look forward to reading from you. Down in the chat below, first, here's Tulsi Gabbard. We have 2 announcements from her. This is the first one where she officially announces they're going after Fauci.
Is hearing in Congress. Dr. Fauci is yet the latest example of how the Democrat elite in Washington will stop at absolutely nothing in their crusade for more control and more power, which obviously comes at the expense of our freedom, the expense of the interests of the American people. So Dr. Fauci is just the latest amongst the worst offenders. Sadly, there are so many examples that we can point to. You guys who watch me know that I use the word Democrat elite a lot. People ask me, who are these Democrat elite that you speak of?
See, she used to be a Democrat, but she was never a Democrat elite, which is why she had to leave the Democrat Party.
Yes, it's people like Joe Biden, people like Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer. But it's important to recognize that it is also unelected officials like Fauci, who has shown throughout his entire career serving under both Democrat and Republican administrations through his actions that he serves his own interests and the interests of big pharma and big government consistently over the interests of the American people. The insidious part about this is that he and others take these actions and abuse their power in the name of working for our best interest when in fact they are doing the exact opposite.
They always say, it's not for me, I'm trying to help you.
Daily dual action pill includes prescription.
Opposite.
They always say, it's not for me, I'm trying to help you. Don't come after me. I'm doing this for your own good.
Example, as you remember, during COVID, Dr. Fauci demanded that we place blind faith in him and the government. They said, just trust us. Just trust the science, that we are acting in the interests of your public health. But over time, we saw what it was really about. It was about control. It was about more money, huge amounts of money, our taxpayer dollars being put directly into the pockets of big pharma. They didn't care about the truth. In fact, they outwardly and very brazenly rejected science, rejected the truth, and just
Hold on, lifters. I don't know what's going on, lifters. YouTube sucks. I gotta restart again. Because YouTube sucks. I know you lifters don't like that. Actually, you probably do. Because you don't want to hear the truth. It's okay, lifters. We're not going to stop it, okay? We're going to keep on going. We just have to go back to the system. And yeah, what's up, Jericho? Lifters, man. They're messing with the YouTube, man. My YouTube just stopped. So I got to start back over again. Yes. So we got to start over again with this here. Because I don't know what the... Because it played fine for me early. Yes. And and then I thought of today, Act Blue is officially being investigated by Pan Bounty. Carrie Lake, you guys remember the whole Carrie Lake and Kitty Hobbs shit? Oh yeah. Shit's about to get cold, buddy. I ain't playing around here.
Tulsi Gabbard's next target, Anthony Fauci. He is officially under investigation in a probe for gain of function research and for lying about saying that we did not pay for and conduct gain of function research. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Shout out to the Quad Club, my people that watch 4 videos a day. Thank you. You help keep the lights on. I love hearing from you. to reading from you. Down in the chat below, first, here's Tulsi Gabbard. We have two announcements from her. This is the first one where she officially announces they're going after Fauci.
Is hearing in Congress. Dr. Fauci is yet the latest example of how the Democrat elite in Washington will stop at absolutely nothing in their crusade for more control and more power, which obviously comes at the expense of our freedom, the expense of the interests of the American people. So Dr. Fauci is just the latest amongst the worst offenders. Sadly, there are so many examples that we can point to. You guys who watch me know that I use the word Democrat elite a lot. People ask me, who are these Democrat elite that you speak of?
See, she used to be a Democrat, but she was never a Democrat elite, which is why she had to leave the Democrat Party.
Yes, it's people like Joe Biden, people like Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer. But it's important to recognize that it is also unelected officials like Fauci, who has shown throughout his entire career serving under both Democrat and Republican administrations through his actions that he serves his own interests and the interests of big pharma and big government consistently over the interests of the American people. The insidious part about this is that he and others take these actions and abuse their power in the name of working for our best interests when in fact they are doing the exact opposite.
They always say, it's not for me, I'm trying to help you.
Eating too much bacon and red meat. Nope, it's actually
the opposite.
They always say, it's not for me, I'm trying to help you. Don't come after me. I'm doing this for your own good.
Example, as you remember, during COVID, Dr. Fauci demanded that we place blind faith in him and the government. They said, just trust us. Just trust the science, that we are acting in the interest of your public health. But over time, we saw what it was really about. It was about control. It was about more money. Huge amounts of money, our taxpayer dollars being put directly into the pockets of big pharma. They didn't care about the truth. In fact, they outwardly and very brazenly rejected science, rejected the truth, and just labeled their lies as science and the truth.
And that's literally true when Fauci said, I am science. Fauci declared himself, he said, I am science. This kind of hubris did come out. It is in public. He does have some responsibility to show for his gain of function research. We have more on new inroads into the Clinton Foundation, Clinton donors. We're going to hit Hillary just as hard as Fauci in this episode. I'll let her continue.
Now we know Fauci has lied to Congress numerous times, including the lie that the National Institute of Health did not and does not perform or fund gain of function research. This is a serious one, and it's lying under oath before Congress. But here's the thing is Democrats protect their friends who lie before Congress from ever being prosecuted and go after their opponents. We also know now that Fauci's team has been exposed through hearings yesterday and today. They worked behind the scenes to cover up the origins of the COVID outbreak.
So I think covering up the origins of the COVID outbreak is not as bad or deadly as participating in gain of function research. That's the one. And of course, we'll only get him on lying under oath is the only way we can get him in jail, just by lying. I mean, he should be serving a life sentence even for conducting gain of function research. That's making viruses more deadly so they can anticipate where they're going to go. And we forbid that practice because in engineering viruses to become more deadly, they could get out. There are numerous warnings about that Wuhan facility in China that they had sloppy protocols, and lo and behold, it got out. And then they lied saying, well, its origins could have come from a wet market there in Wuhan, but not the actual Wuhan lab. So that was how it's all tied. There's another part of this, a little more expansion on this from Megyn Kelly interviewing Tulsi Gabbard. I just thought I'd give you.
We are working with Jay Bhattacharya, the new NIH director, as well as Secretary Kennedy.
every university and heralded for saying that the lockdowns could be more damaging and extreme and damage more people than letting people go out and get herd immunity. That was Jay Bhattacharya. Trump puts him in his administration.
Is looking at the gain of function research that in the case of the Wuhan lab, as well as many of these other biolabs around the world,
like in Ukraine,
was actually U.S. funded and leads to this dangerous kind of research that in many examples has resulted in either a pandemic or some other major health crisis.
Let me ask you specifically, because we already know that EcoHealth Alliance was partnering with this Wuhan lab to do gain of function research. Right.
EcoHealth Alliance, that's the one that Fauci works with, and Francis Collins.
We just have never been able to have somebody say it was that exact experiment that led to this COVID bug. But have we gotten there? What's the new thing that you're digging in on?
We are working on that with Jay Bhattacharya and look forward to being able to share that.
Jay Bhattacharya is the first scientist to go in and look to find what was the actual experiment done that caused done under gain of function research. They don't have a date, they don't have a specific time, they have a lot of innuendo and stuff, and that's not enough to nail a guy. Now can look through all of the files and find Anthony Fauci's fingerprints all over it.
Between the gain of function research and what we saw with COVID-19.
I mean, that would be extraordinary because just so the audience knows, if that's true, if it was Peter Daszak's research with the Wuhan so-called fat lady that caused this pandemic, then we did fund it. Then Anthony Fauci helped fund the pandemic.
The thing that he denied over and over and over to Senator Rand Paul's questioning.
Okay, so he denied it. They have to find the absolute proof. This is the first time they've looked or even been allowed to look. That's where Tulsi Gabbard is smoking on this thing. I don't know that there's proof there, but we haven't been allowed to look. Is it illegal to look? Do I get canceled and banned for looking? Remember how draconian they went with the COVID protocols, guys. It was absolute government overreach, even into the church, even into your free speech, canceling people on platforms, etc. But wait, there's more. FBI, Kash Patel just announced this on the Clintons. FBI agents uncovered evidence of a pay to play at the Clinton Foundation in 2016. Department of Justice leadership and McCabe ordered them to shut it down. We've now declassified the memo. This is proof of political interference at the highest levels. Shut it down. Bombshell.
Oh boy, commercial.
What the hell did you do to get from 189 to 126? 3 weeks ago, you looked like a...
Highest levels. Shut it down. Bombshell. FBI timeline exposes political interference in the Clinton corruption probe. Pay to play. We're going to go over their list of donors in just a minute. But first, I just wanted to get back to King Ding Dong of Clinton corruption. This John Brennan guy was on the Jen Psaki show lying about...
Well, Jen, just looking at the optics, it's clear that Vladimir Putin felt very confident from the arrival in terms of how he was greeted. Again, an international pariah, a war criminal who was basically embraced by the President of the United States on a red carpet in the United States. So I think you could see on Putin's face, he felt very, very comfortable. And the fact that he was given a ride then in the presidential limousine, the Beast, I certainly hope the Secret Service has swept that vehicle very well in terms of any type of, small microchip that might have been put in the vehicle.
Conspiracy theorist right there. John Brennan, he's going full QAnon on us. I hope they swept the vehicle for chips that Putin gets a ride in the Beast, in Trump's vehicle, and his agenda is to drop a bug in there. These guys are so anti-Trump and psycho that he believes glued. He's like a bipolar woman going nuts. He's unstable. And his Trump derangement syndrome is on fire. Wait, there's more. This is Trump. We did a video the other day on Hillary Clinton saying if Trump could pull this off with Putin, which he did not get the ceasefire, she said she would nominate him for the Nobel Prize.
yesterday said that if you got this deal done and not capitulate to Putin, that she would nominate you for the Nobel Peace Prize.
If President Trump were the architect of that, I'd nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, that was very nice. I may have to start liking her again.
He's so funny. I love his sense of humor. Here's Elizabeth McDonald. This is hard to track down, but here are some of the names of the 85 donors who met with then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. After the 85 contributed $156 million to the Clinton Foundation, which Kash Patel is investigating this, more than half of its 2015 budget. This is just the first half of her term, the AP says. It did not reveal the names that were the 154 private visitors. No one knows who met with her in the second half, if this was pay to play. This is as declassified emails reveal Obama's Deputy Attorney General, Sally Yates, ordered FBI officials to shut down this investigation. So now they're opening the investigation back up and showing you what they were on the track of when Barack Obama told Sally Yates to demand they shut it down. Their pay-to-play corruption probe into the foundation for soliciting hundreds of millions of dollars from foreign and U.S. interests with businesses. Initiative plummeted 90% by 2018 because they had no more influence to pay for. She was out of office. Influence, that's evidence right there. After Clinton lost and they pulled the plug, questions grow over whether the 31,000 emails Clinton destroyed are connected to this. I'll say yes, as Clinton is accused of changing the headlines in 2016 by helping to orchestrate Trump-Russia. George Soros, a major Clinton Foundation donor, met with Clinton in 2010 to discuss support for the American University of Central Asia. He's a benefactor, so this is George Soros is a name. Viktor Pinchuk, the Ukrainian steel magnate, pledged $10 million. Why is Ukraine giving to her? They're also involved with Burisma, which Hunter Biden was on the board of. Microsoft, Bill Gates, and the Gates Foundation, donors to the foundation, did lobbying activities. Steven Schwartzman, Fabrizio Frida, Susie Tompkins Buell, interpreter, longtime Clinton mega donor. Walmart, are we still shopping there? I don't believe in boycotts, but you know, Walmart and the Walton Family Foundation donated to the Clinton Foundation and also lobbied the State Department. Muhammad Yunus, founder of the Grameen Bank. There's another corrupt bank. ExxonMobil, Boeing, General Electric donated millions of dollars. Saudi Arabia, 10 to 25 million pledged, all dried up after Clinton leaves office. Kuwait, 10 to 25 million. U.A.E. specified donation sums: Morocco, Bahrain, Norway, and Germany. Pay to play on Clinton. Kash Patel's looking. And on a negative note, I want to wash Hillary Clinton and Anthony Fauci out of your mouth. So here's Lee Zeldin, head of the Environmental Protection Agency, I talked a little bit about this, Trump healing culture. We're healing culture. Things can be funny again.
All across America, people are feeling good. You just referenced that golden age of America. People are feeling hopeful for the future. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're just talking about all of the shifts with comedy and culture. And the reason why Colbert got canceled was obviously because he sucked. He was losing money. It wasn't.
Department of EPA, ladies and gentlemen, Environmental Protection Agency on Gutfeld saying Colbert got canceled because he sucked. I approve of this kind of statesmanship.
The other reason is that his friends are trying to rally behind him, arguing. And instead of comedy featuring what is like an unfunny lecture about what we are supposed to be offended by, we're now back to this moment where comedy features hilarious commentary and insight about what we are not supposed to be offended by. And just on so many respects, you're talking about money, you're talking about freedom, you're talking about safety, you're talking about culture and comedy. Right now, there are so many reasons to be feeling good about life in America.
Yeah, we're culture and comedy, guys. He's talking about free speech, being able to critique your government without fear. By the way, that Lee Zeldin, he's the one that got stabbed when he was running for his office in New York by that lunatic Democrat. On Gutfeld, defending humor and celebrating a positive reason for why things are going good under Trump. I think that's worth meditating on. And remember, go to church tomorrow. But we are here to thank God also for any good thing. It's a terrible thing to get a good thing and not thank God for it. I'm Doug in Exile. Subscribe.
All right. Game over the stars.
I erased 7 years of foot neuropathy with these. Stop throwing money at drugstore gimmicks and chemical-laced creams. We have Chris.
Oh, boy. YouTube again.
Chris Wright on, U.S. Energy Secretary. We are concerned about our energy, and thank God Donald Trump. Can you imagine how bad this would be if Joe Biden's policies would have continued? Thank God we're doing a lot of really good things, but I wanted to get a sense from Chris on where we are and what he thinks of what's happening in Maryland and the warning that Goldman is giving this week. Chris, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Glenn. And yeah, you're hitting a hot topic right away.
Okay, so I would assume that you agree with what Goldman said?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we released a report from the department just a few weeks ago. And if you had continued the Biden policies, which are to permit and subsidize energy sources that might be there, might not, and generally aren't there at peak demand, if we had continued those policies, they would have shut down another 100 when you need it. And they had permits to approve and plans to add 22 gigawatts to that. Shut down 100, add 22. So a net loss of 78 gigawatts to an electricity grid that's already tight, that already delivers blackouts at peak demand. They were on a trajectory to increase blackouts by 100-fold by the end of the first Harris term if she had won that election. It is just we were driving over a cliff and they were hitting the accelerator to go faster.
You know what? What really bothered me was the policy that when they shut these plants down, that we would actually pay the power companies to shut these down if they dismantled the coal-fired plants. They actually could get subsidies if they made sure there was no going back into that, which I found terrifying and horribly irresponsible.
It's just crazy. Like, environmentalists melted down a few weeks ago when I used my authority at the Department of Energy to stop the closure of a 1.5 gigawatt coal plant in southwestern Michigan. Oh, you're going to impose tax costs on the ratepayers? We don't need that coal plant. It was slated to close. 2 days later, there was a blackout in MISO, the Midwestern Independent System Operator. The 2 days later, that plant was running at full capacity. It would have been massively worse. Prices would have been massively higher. You just talked about Baltimore. We also stopped the closure of a very old power plant in Baltimore, but a critical power plant to keep the lights on at peak demand. And has for much of the last few weeks. Oh, no, we don't need it. We're going to close it. It's just when politics gets in the middle of energy, it truly impacts people's lives. It leads to blackouts, spiking costs. You know, we had 30% rise in power prices during just 4 years of President Joe Biden. And now we're going to launch the AI race against China.
Right. And
we're going to have our lights going off without data centers, without any new industry in our country. Just thank God the American people overwhelmingly elected President Trump. We brought common sense back. We're swimming 7 days a week to try to fix the train wreck they left us. So it's exciting. It's more stressful than I'd like. But I can assure you, we are headed in the right direction now.
So, what really bothers me is we have heard how dangerous nuclear power is and how we can't use that, even though that solves the global warming thing. We've never been able to have that. We have to reduce our power usage, go back to the good old days in, medieval times. But now that AI is here, now that the big tech companies step up and say, no, we have to have power for AI. Now all of those rules are out the window, which bothers me so much, because it is as if the left and the power structures don't really care about the average person and them having power. They care about these big corporations and AI being able to have compute power, but not the average person. And it's disgusting. It's really disgusting.
I think that's right, Glenn. It also shows that they never really cared about incremental changes in greenhouse gas emissions. The climate change thing is mostly a clamor for power. We're going to decide the way the world works and make rules for you, because you stupid rubes out there in America, you can't make your own decisions. We must make them for you. But yes, they were never about a rational approach to reduce greenhouse gases. They don't even know that much about greenhouse gas emissions. As you said, they hated nuclear then. Now they see we're on a train wreck. They don't want to admit their climate alarmism was wrong and wildly exaggerated. So now, nuclear power is okay because we need these data centers. These big companies need power. It's not just those crazy rubes in middle America like you and I.
So, in your report, you said, we will increase blackouts by 100 times in the next 5 years if we don't keep more baseload power online. How rapidly are we going to see these nuclear power plants, et cetera, being built? And is it only to serve those servers, the American power grid itself?
It will be across the grid. So it's this overweening, fear-mongering government that actually smothered and killed nuclear industry for most of the last 4 decades. So since it's been smothered for so long, it'll take time to get that ball really moving. We'll have a already closed nuclear power plant back open in Michigan later this year, January, hopefully at the latest. So there's some developments that'll happen in the next few months, but most of it's going to take a few years. Really, what's going to feed the data centers that are going to be built and the reindustrialization of our country and keep the lights on and our air conditioning on in the summertime, most of that is going to come from stopping the closure of the coal plants that the Biden administration and Obama administration wanted to shrink our ability to generate electricity. And it's going to come from the expansion and rapid construction of new natural gas burning power plants. Natural gas is by far our biggest source of electricity. It's by far the lowest cost source of new electricity. So we are doing everything we can to allow the construction of natural gas plants as fast as possible, and removing these ridiculous requirements that, well, if you spend $1 billion to build a new power plant within 6 or 7 or 8 years, you're going to have to capture all the carbon dioxide emissions and inject them underground, no matter how much it costs, no matter how much it burdens our power sector. Just the direction they were in just didn't care about American people or American businesses.
How long before we see these things? I mean, China is building at the speed of at least one coal-fired power plant a week. They are building nuclear plants. They are on an energy surge right now. They know what's coming. When should we see this actually starting to happen? And how long before power prices come down?
How's the sound and pictures?
Before I started using Farmer's Dog, I would fill my dog's bowls up with dry kibble in the morning, and then just kind of walk by and pick.
Prices come down.
Let me know how the sound and pictures, everybody. Please give me a thumbs up if it's all good. If it's not, let me know. Don't be shy.
Oh man, that is the big question. President Trump asks me that every single day. Every single day. Let's get oil prices down. Let's get gas prices down. Let's get electricity prices down. And it takes a while to build infrastructure. Fortunately, quickly we can stop the closure of coal plants that still have lots of lifetime left. We've already done that. That's why we don't have much worse blackouts already today. We do have new gas plants coming on this year, a lot more coming on next year. We'll have nuclear plants on later this term. We'll have a whole bunch of them under construction. But yet to turn the giant, aircraft years. But hopefully we can stop the huge rise in prices. We can build the capacity so the United States can keep our lead on artificial intelligence over China. We get behind China and they control AI, our national security is at risk.
Yeah, I know.
So the whole administration is 7 days a week working on this effort. You will see dramatically fewer blackouts this summer than you would have had the election gone the other way. And I think we'll be in a little bit better situation next summer. And somewhere in between there this winter, we're rapidly swimming the right way. I wish I could say power prices are going down 20% next year, but it's simply not possible to do that in 12 months. But I will tell you, President Trump is 7 days a week doing everything he can towards that goal.
What regions are the worst in the country as far as stability and prices?
Yeah, I don't.
The Midwest, you know, the where that Michigan coal plant was kept open, where that nuclear power plant will reopen later that year. The Midwest Independent System Operator, that's our tightest region. The Southeast and PJM, where Washington, D.C. is, and the Mid-Atlantic states, they're rapidly getting tighter as well. Everything in the interconnection queue that was new to peak demand in the wintertime is when it's dark out. And in summertime, it's when it's really hot and you're in a high-pressure system and the wind doesn't blow. Those things don't help. But at some points in time, that's not very helpful for our electricity grid. But we're going to stop the closure of the firm capacity, and we're going to do everything we can. We are permitting and approving plants every week, new construction, new plants that'll get built, and that'll be here to provide relief to Americans in the next 12 to 24 months.
And the most stable region?
The most stable region actually is Texas, which is by far the biggest electricity grid. They produce more than twice as much electricity as California, and just a little bit less nonsense in Texas. They still went crazy on the wind subsidies.
Yeah, they did.
Still have more expensive and less stable grid than they had 10 years ago, but they also have the mindset and the regulatory regime to fix their problem. Texas is rapidly growing its firm capacity, and they're going to skate out of this crisis probably a little faster than the more Biden-influenced rest of the country.
I can't thank you enough for everything you guys are doing. I'm amazed at how rapidly you guys have turned things around. I'm thrilled at the work you're all doing, and Chris, you're really leading us in energy, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Glenn. Appreciate all your viewers. We're doing everything we can. We think about American people. That's the only.
That's our U.S. Energy Secretary, Chris Wright. That is, I mean, you want to talk about, we remember you were saying the other day, not only do we have competent people, we have people. That was somebody who I think spoke right directly, at least to me, it felt like he was speaking to me, and I felt like they at least were saying, I think he really meant it, but I think at least he was saying, we care about the average person. That's what we're focused on, is the average person. And you just don't hear that from government very often.
What about the kings and queens of nations, like Somalia, for example?
Yeah, right.
Where's Guatemala?
Yeah,
in this? Why he didn't even mention Guatemala?
He didn't even care about Guatemala. No, he was like, we care about America and Americans. Wow, okay, if that's what you want to do.
In other news, a 2025 DOGE-inspired initiative is causing a stir with the release of a viral Trump.
Democrats don't have values. I don't know how they're going to get values. Do they go on Wheel of Fortune and say, I'd like to buy a value? Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the Happy Patriots are. We're going to end this lovely Friday night. Shout out to the Quad Club, to my people watching all 4 videos. You guys build me up and you make me happy. You're doing something incredibly positive. This job could be really hard. It could get old really fast. It could be really difficult. Then I read the comments from all of you. I have the best audience in the world. You guys are loving, kind, intelligent, fun. I can't go off enough about you. So I just want to let you know, I see you and I thank you. But you're going to probably hate my guts when you see this Joy Reid video coming up. She goes completely nuts. It's the most hateful screen I could find. And you guys know I don't like leaving the night on a negative note, so I'm trying to scrape together something positive to cleanse our palate. It's like eating ginger after you eat sushi bites. You got to cleanse the palate. Is referencing sushi to elitist, guys? Am I allowed to like sushi? Look, here's the New York Times. Speaking of elitist, New York Times gives away, guys, this is the entire Democrat plan. Opinion, interesting times. Abolish the Senate, end the Electoral College, and pack the court. Why the left can't win without a new constitution. This is a massive admittance that they have nothing. All they can do is now they're going to try and get their claws out and grab power and pull it in. This will lose because it's not policy. They're not saying we're going to bring new jobs back. We're going to feed the poor. We're going to end racism against blacks. There's all these things they could run on. They cannot find a value, a mortal state of business. They're going, and so this is all power grab. They're going to abolish the Senate. They're going to end the Electoral College. That's something that they've always talked about. And they're going to pack the court. I didn't make this up, by the way. The last two on the Electoral College and pack the court. I mean, James Carville has said they're going to pack the court flat out. He goes, we can't win otherwise. He goes, we're just going to have to pack the court. And he said we're going to have to do massive gerrymandering across America. Now, this is painful but productive. You're going to hear some bad things. This is going to be hard to get through at first, but she makes our point perfectly. Imagine this is what she's going to try to sell to the black community and to white liberals. And I just want to know, do you think this will work?
Donald Trump, in some ways, people try to say God put him in the White House. I don't believe God is that cruel. But in a way, I'm thinking...
Okay, hold on. Now she's talking theology. I got to already interrupt. Anytime someone brings up the God name, I'm a Christian and I read my Bible. Anyone who says God, he says, I don't think God put Trump in the White House. He's not that corrupt. We're going to correct her on this because I'm going to give you news on JFK and show you how corruption is way worse than anything Trump ever did. And the other thing is when Biden was the president, I still believed God appoints our leaders. It's just not always for reward. Sometimes he gives us a leader, it's not for a reward. Sometimes he gives us a leader, and it's not for punishment. God's not your magic genie, Joy Reid. I can't tell you why God picked Trump. I only tell you that I'm happy, that I agree with him. I'm happy on that one. And I can't tell you why Joe Biden or Barack Obama or Clinton were appointed by God. He did not give me a special message, nor did he give you one. So nice guess. All you do is show that you hate Christians and you hate Trump.
The way you could justify saying that, Donald Trump is the physical embodiment of all of America's sins.
Yeah, I agree completely. Well, they both agree. Is Trump the embodiment of America's sins? If America has any sin that I would call America out on, and I don't know this, I'm just guessing, I don't think we fight enough. I don't think we stand up for our families, our loved ones, our country, our neighbor. You're not loving them if you're apathetic about them. I think America is way too uncaring about our neighbors. Not in the South here. We got the volunteer state, volunteering, loving your neighbors, invite them over to dinner. I had 3 buddies over last night, Christian musicians, and we want to build each other up. I think if America has a sin, maybe we're too isolationist. Maybe we are too selfish. Just the whole world is getting more selfish. That happens when you're prosperous. But this lady, she's going to call out, and he agrees, Trump embodies America's sins.
Right? He's sloppy. He's unkempt. Everything about him is false. His hair is...
Hold on. Trump has false hair? Joy Reid, the chat can tell me what you think of Joy Reid saying Trump embodies America. Joy, nice baseball cap.
The pretense of non-baldness. He's old.
The pretense of non-bald? You're bald.
Old, but his followers try to pretend that he looks like Superman. He's a terrible businessman and a failure who gets to fake success because he's white, so banks keep lending him money even...
Now, hold on. That's racism. Or she's claiming there's racism. Okay, I'm going to ask my white audience. Blacks, you could check in too. I like black people. But what do you think? Do you think banks are just, where's my free bank money at? I'm a white guy. Joy Reid, I want the branch. I want to walk into a branch and get my free bank loan because I'm white. Is even my black audience buying that? And to white people out there, if you guys know the location of the bank where I get my white man money, please put it in the chat below. I want to get my white man money.
When he's failing, his father scoops money out of his siblings' inheritance to give him when he fails. He's a up, but he's able to be a success because white America keeps saying, no, that guy is what success looks.
White America, there she goes again. This woman, I'm sorry, Joy Reid, you're a racist. White America keeps going, this guy's a success. I could show you 100 hours right now of black people saying Trump is a success. It's not white America. How did she see everyone being positive about Trump? More African Americans voting for him than ever before. Asians voting for him than ever before. Hispanics voting for him than ever before. And she sees race. She sees white people. She's hateful.
Like he's only a success on that TV show because when he was at his brokest, he gets hired to be on The Apprentice.
That's called a win when you're out of luck and out of money and you go get the world's most successful show host job on The Apprentice. Joy Reid, that's what you should want for your loser friends that can't catch a break. You want them to go try something else and win and become number one.
Boardroom couldn't even be used on The Apprentice, and I found this out of my first my Trump book because it was so shoddy and
Hey, you wrote a book?
Don't shower again until you've seen the disgusting truth about your water pipes. This dermatologist from New York just discovered
this out of my first my Trump book because it was so shoddy and
Hey, you wrote a book? Holy cow.
I went in Trump Tower in the 80s. It was tacky and sad. His marriage is a fraud. Melania clearly won't even touch him. The
Lawsuit. His marriage is a fraud. Melania won't even touch him. She's mad they're not grinding on each other in public. Very unpresidential. And she's classy, Joy. This isn't a parking lot party at the bowling alley.
Last time she let him touch her, they had Barron. Clear that he ain't touching her now.
The last time he touched her, they had Barron. That is terrible. Joy Reid is Barron.
He doesn't believe in marriage. He doesn't have morality. He got 3 baby mamas, 5 children.
He doesn't believe in marriage. He has baby mamas. So the black community should like that, right? The Democrat blacks that are all into the baby mamas. He's got 3 baby mamas. Doesn't that make him, isn't he cool, Joy? Or are you judging baby mamas now in your culture?
Everything about him is a lie. He's not a Christian, but Christians love him.
Now, hold on. He's not a Christian, but Christians love him. She thinks I love him because I think he's a holy man. And that's a lie. I don't know if Trump's a Christian or not. I've heard a lot of things about his theology. I'm fascinated anytime the word God or Christianity comes up. He has made some statements that I oppose. But this is another Democrat lie. I could read you another article that David French just wrote this week against Doug Wilson and against Trump. How evangelicals, they're mad that we like Trump. They're mad that I like Trump. And she thinks the only reason that me, as a Christian, that I like Trump is because I agree with his theology, which I probably don't. I don't even agree with my pastor on all theology. I don't agree with all of you on all theology. But she thinks this is so lazy, and the left keeps doing that. Like, Christians are so suckered by Trump. They've been so deceived by him. They think they're only following because they think he's a holy man. No, I really don't care. He's an amazing president. He's an amazing Biden, who keeps talking about his Catholic faith. For all I know, he's more into scripture and into his Christianity. And I still think it would be a terrible move. I would never vote for Biden. I was talking to my friend last night. If I found out my pastor voted for Democrats, I would not go to his church. I think anyone who would vote for Kamala Harris over Trump, I would not want, because I subject my family to church leadership, to the pastor. I would not become a member of that church and submit myself to a leader who thought that voting for Kamala Harris was a wise life decision.
But he embodies the greed, the shamelessness, the lasciviousness of capitalism.
Remember, she's talking about all of you, all of America. The sins of America are greed and capitalism.
And now also to your main, and I think really important point, the mediocrity. He could never be JFK.
We're going to get into JFK. I'll say Trump could never be JFK, and that's a good thing. I will agree with her on some of the mediocrity. I think some of us are too casual. You know, we're a little too comfortable with the existence of sin. And I'm not talking about in American culture. I'm talking about in my life, me, Joy. Look, I'm not talking about y'all and America's sin. I'm talking about me. And to my Christians out there, I think holy people don't go, the whole world is too sinful. They look at themselves and say, I'm worried more about the sin in my life. I'm too mediocre, both about Christianity, but even in my art. I'm doing a painting over there. I need to fight mediocrity in my life. Too much sin, not enough good, too much bad.
He's not handsome. He's not suave. He's not brave. He was never a war hero like JFK. He has none. Even RFK can never be JFK. None of these people stand up to JFK's legacy.
Okay, let's go to JFK's legacy. I'm done. Now, guys, comes the good part. I've put you through. That's like giving you all a spanking. I'm sorry. If you're still here in the show, you're very brave, and I thank you. Here's your reward. She touts JFK as some amazing guy. Here's the article on JFK was one of the dirtiest, worst presidents. I'm not here to say he didn't do good things, just like Trump. I'm not saying he's not a Christian either, but listen to this. Here's how President Kennedy seduced a White House intern inside the bedroom he shared with Jackie Onassis. Mimi Alford was all of 19 years old when she began working in the White House press office, where she caught the eye of President JFK, and it was all over her. You caught his eye, you were in trouble. She was a wide-eyed White House intern just 4 days into the job when she found herself standing alone next to the most powerful man in the world in the most intimate room at Pennsylvania Avenue. Mimi Alford was 19 years old when she began working on the White House press office in 1962 and caught the eye of JFK, while the 2016 movie Jackie shed new light on how the First Lady created the myth of Camelot. It's a myth, guys, after JFK's assassination. Much curiosity remains about their marriage and what Jackie knew about her husband's alleged marital affairs. There she is, 19 years old, Mimi Alford. Mimi Alford details in her 2012 book, Once Upon a Secret, she was stunned. Known officially as the first friend at the White House, he allegedly invited her for a swim in the White House pool. It didn't matter that she didn't have a swimsuit. There were plenty available to choose from. They had a whole closet of suits to put their not underage, she's 19, but to put their young victims into. Bewildered after diving into the pool with two young female colleagues, Alford was nearly dumbstruck when the commander-in-chief himself walked in a short time later, JFK. Mind if I join you? The president said before heading into the dressing room, emerging a short time later in swim trunks. Look at the hunky guy. All of America thinks he's the great American hunk. President Kennedy, the great one. He was remarkably fit, flat stomach, toned arms for a 45-year-old man. Well, I'm 59. Let's not talk about my stomach. Alford wrote, detailing how the two exchanged pleasantries while treading water. Later that same day, Alford was back at her desk when Powers called again, this time wondering if she would be interested in an informal get-together upstairs. See, they checked her out when she was in the pool. So did JFK. They brought 3 girls in so he could pick from the very best one with the one he preferred. This is scum. Is this as bad as Trump, Joy Reid? Is this Trump will never be this? She accepted the invitation and was stunned to discover that upstairs meant the family residence, and soon she found herself sipping daiquiris with an intimate group before the president entered the room. Short time later, Kennedy offered her a private tour of the residence, and it was when they were alone in the bedroom he shared with First Lady Jacqueline Kennedy that he made his move. According to Alford's account, this is a very private room, he told the young Alford, and slipped a hand on her shoulder. The thing I knew, he was standing in front of me, his face inches away, she recorded in her book. He placed both hands on my shoulders and guided me toward the edge.
Scientists at Harvard just witnessed something extraordinary. During a routine study of sound frequencies, they just
edge of the bed. A short time later, Alford lost her virginity to the world-renowned leader, and their trysts continued for more than a year, according to her account of the matter. There she is today. I think he did take advantage. I was so young, Alfred told People, but I liked feeling special. Although Alfred faced criticism for revealing so many personal details in the book, Democrats attacked her for telling you the truth, for being off topic. How dare you attack the victim? That's what Democrats do. Women, this is not a pro-woman party. She also wrote that JFK asked her to give powers, and later his brother, Ted, favors. Alfred told People in 2012 that she had no regrets. He hoarded her out. JFK did. I couldn't tell the story of parts of that book, and they were difficult for me to write. The fact is, I was vulnerable, and the president was a very powerful man. This is Democrat power. She said Trump can't be. Trump's never done something like that. We have no record of it. We have an eyewitness account of the victim herself who was attacked by Democrats about what JFK did and hoarded her out to Ted Kennedy, the line of the Senate. I have a friend who was a writer in Hollywood. He used to go and write at the Ted Kennedy summer house. She would go there to a party. And one time he pinned her in a bedroom. Big, fat, old Ted Kennedy was chasing her around the room, begging her, almost crying, begging her for sex with cocaine all around his nose. That's the lion of the Senate. That's what Democrats say. These people are despicable. Joy Reid, tell the truth. Meanwhile, look, here's a little bit. Here's the universe healing a little bit. Look, it's Putin getting flowers, sending it to the World War II memorial in Alaska, meeting with Trump. Roses. It's a sad Russian funeral hymn, which all Russian songs sound like a sad funeral hymn. Those are the statues of American soldiers and Russian soldiers shaking hands. World War II, guys, everyone believes we would not have won if Russia did not take a huge shot at Germany. So I just wanted to leave on this sacred note. Can you make a deal today, sir?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, press. 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 Let's go. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you.
But I have one last little article here, some bombshell news. A reward for you for staying all the way to the end. Hopefully you'll subscribe if you have not yet. Bombshell. DNI emails expose fraud that sabotaged 2018 Trump-Putin summit. Democrats sabotaged his last fail than to bring peace. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard has released 2 emails that are significant not only for their content but for their timing, coming just 2 days before the Trump-Putin summit in Alaska. The emails reveal that in 2016, the DNI James Clapper, get ready, he's going to get investigated. He's one of the guys that could get in big trouble over this Russia collusion hoax. Pushed the fraudulent narrative that Russia had hacked the Democrat National Committee, overriding pointed objections from then National Security Agency Chief Admiral Mike Rogers. The timing matters because the very narrative, the claim that Russia had hacked the DNC to help President Trump, was used to sabotage the 2018 Trump-Putin summit in Helsinki. 3 Just 3 days before meeting, Special Counsel Robert Mueller indicted 12 Russian nationals on charges of hacking the DNC. So these are made up, trumped up fake charges by our government against Russia, possibly causing World War III. The indictment was designed to create political chaos. Mueller knew that the 12 Russians were located in Russia and would never stand trial, meaning he would never have to prove the case. The result of the indictments was exactly what Mueller, his team, yet to be identified co-conspirators intended: to sabotage the summit and effectively criminalize diplomacy with Russia. They do not want Trump to succeed today. Democrats will never be able to touch his boots. They're nothing near anything like Trump. They have scummy JFK as their highest, most royal figure, and he is a confirmed awful woman. Dirtbag. So was Teddy Kennedy, the Lion of the Senate. The truth is coming out, guys. The good news is I can't tell you if God picked Trump. I can tell you as a Christian, I'm very pleased, very happy that we're lucky enough and blessed enough to have him as our president. Pray for his safety. Pray for his success. Pray with me. I wanted to bring you some joy at the very end. Trump's winning. Guys, it could have been so much worse. If you haven't thanked God yet, that's going to be on us. We have to thank God for Trump. I'm Doug in exile. Subscribe.
If you or someone you know have been diagnosed with mesothelioma, download a free patient support guide.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Senator Adam Schiff must be feeling the weight of the FBI pressure breathing down on his neck because, well, he's losing it. Before we get started, please make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Those little things really help us out, and they help our channel continue to grow. I want to apologize, actually, right off the bat. I just heard what I said. When I say he's losing it, that implies he had it at some point, that he hadn't lost it years ago, and that's incorrect. Trump has broken this man. Yesterday, he appeared on television, and he did what every Democrat was going to do no matter what happened between Trump and Putin. He could have walked out of there with a peace deal and a ceasefire, and they would have found something wrong with it. I said that yesterday, and I'll say it again. No matter what he does, they're going to find something wrong. So he has his meltdown. And the meltdown is not pertaining to the FBI investigation, by the way. I just think that's part of the reason he's so tense and lashing out right now, because he didn't only lash out at Trump. And this is what is interesting. So he downplays what Trump did, which, because of course he's going to do that, right? But then he also takes a shot at former President Joe Biden. He says Biden was too slow. Biden didn't do enough on Russia and Ukraine. He's the first Democrat I've heard say that. He's absolutely right. For the first time in history, I think Adam Schiff is absolutely right about this one point. And a broken clock is right twice a day. Adam Schiff usually is right never, but this time, he actually did have a very good point. What he's wrong about with Trump is Trump inherited this mess, and he's trying his best to fix it. Schiff doesn't want him to fix it. I think Schiff would rather see this war continue than to see peace in that region if Trump gets the credit for that peace. I want you guys to watch this and let me know what you think in the comments.
Alaska. But do you believe that President Trump should get credit for, at the very least, trying to have peace happen here? The argument being that the Biden approach did not work, and that ultimately, even though there was a period when arming Ukraine seemed to really push the Russians back, that economy and his country, and then began to score some very significant victories on the battlefield, and that this is at least an attempt to bring an end to the bloodshed. Look, I'm all for any attempt to bring an end to the bloodshed, but what would have been, I think, a far more successful strategy for the president was to have Ukraine's back, to be leaning into providing material and military support to Ukraine, to give Ukraine the resources it needed to take out the trains carrying fuel going to the front, which have continued to feed the war. But this is not what the president done. The president said essentially Ukraine won't be part of NATO, so he's dealt away a terrible concession even before there's any kind of negotiations. the vice president today and saying that, we're done with providing military support for Ukraine. How is that facilitating a successful negotiation? That's essentially giving up both the military support, NATO membership. Indeed, the president talked about land swaps, giving up potentially territory of Ukraine, even before you sit down at the table. So I agree. The Biden approach didn't succeed, and I think because it was too slow to provide enough material support to Ukraine to give Ukraine that military advantage it needed. But what the president has done since taking office has been to undercut that. We have a bipartisan bill, as you know, strongly bipartisan, to sanction Russia. The president hasn't allowed that legislation to move forward. And the president's own threat of imposing sanctions, he withdrew on, at least until now. So I don't think this is the successful negotiating posture Ukraine deserves.
Obviously, any peace still has to be negotiated between the leaders of Russia and the leaders of Ukraine.
Oh, little baby's crying. Oh boy, here we go. Keep on.
Never sue the other driver after a car accident. There's a better way to get paid a way bigger check without having to go to court.
Congresswoman, you've been one of the leading voices against excessive U.S. involvement in this war in Ukraine. What do you think the U.S. interest is in that battle?
I'm not really sure, and I've never understood it. This is a war that started really back in 2014 under President Obama and then Vice President Joe Biden. And you and I watched it accelerate. We had a front row seat in Congress in 2022. And I was just thinking back fondly of when you were in Congress and we had, very deep discussions when we had our first vote to fund this war. And I remember one of the things I was telling you is the reason why I'm voting against funding it, or one of the reasons, is because I thought it was going to have such horrific economic impacts all around the world. And we saw that happen. We saw inflation go up because once the sanctions were put in place on Russia, we saw a drastic change in basically world trade and trading power around the world. And we saw the BRICS nations become stronger. We saw Russia start selling their oil to many other countries and even selling their oil and gas still to our allies, but through third parties. We saw China get stronger, and yet we saw the poor get poorer, Matt, and that is what has continually happened. I think that there have been extremely corrupt connections in Ukraine, intense money laundering of U.S. tax dollars, and weapons that the U.S. has supplied to Ukraine have been resold to our enemies. And I'll just say this, Matt. If you handed me a doll and told me to show you, point to a place on this doll where Russia has hurt me, I don't think I could do that, because I think the decisions that have been made in Washington, D.C., well, I can tell you that's hurt America a lot worse. So
we
I
heard about
really
that
want
hurt.
to see peace.
Yeah, we heard about that hurt. You represented. After that initial round of sanctions, the cost of their fertilizer went up substantially. The cost of planting rose, and these were farms that did not have huge margins to be able to absorb that for a war that they didn't really understand as being central to any of their interests. So tell us, Congresswoman, how do we get out of this? How do we disentangle the United States from this territorial battle in Europe?
I think it's through economic deals, and I think it's through trade. I think it's through business deals. Look, let me tell you something. I'm a businesswoman, and President Trump is a businessman, and that's why I understand him, and that's a lot of why I support him. It's the art of the deal, and I am hoping we see that begin today in these historic meetings, this peace summit in Anchorage, Alaska, between President Trump and President Putin. I think this is exactly what America needs, and I think it's what Russia needs, and I think it's what the world needs. And America needs to reestablish itself. We don't need BRICS We don't need those nations to become stronger and stronger to where our U.S. dollar is so weak. It's already weak already. And, you know, if you're a dual working couple in America today making over $100,000, well, you're basically the working poor. And that is the result of these nonstop foreign wars, U.S. involvement, and called enemies. You know, I was watching the news before this show, Matt, and I'm watching Fox News is vilifying Vladimir because they're hoping the president sees all this and they're hoping that his team sees it and they want to completely derail all of this. And then I flip over to CNN and they've got John Bolton on there, you know, who wants nothing more than World War III. So it's pretty disgusting what is being broadcast on the establishment media. But if you ask every average working American, people that you know, people that I know in my district, do they want to continue funding this bloody, disgusting, basically wood chipper of a massacre? No, they never wanted to fund it in the first place. Do they want to get rich? Yes. Do they want to make money? Yes. Do they want the U.S. dollar to have a massive impact? Yes. Do they want to buy cheap products? Yes. And so I'm hoping we see some great economic trade deals, and I think President Trump is the right man to get it done.
In the moments leading up to this historic summit, we saw Ukraine engage in a major offensive inside of Russia. What do you think that means, and what does it tell us about where Ukraine sits in President Trump's push for peace?
Well, you know, famously, President Trump said to Zelensky, "You don't hold the cards." And I think that is the truest statement there is, because Zelensky can't stand on his own feet. And unfortunately for the Ukrainian people, they have a dictator because he took away freedom of religion, punished Christian churches, punished journalists, took away the freedom of press. So, you know, anyone that thinks that they're fighting for democracy in Ukraine, absolutely not. That's a dictatorship.
Hi, I'm U.S. Attorney Janine Ferris-Pirro, and keeping D.C. safe and beautiful is our top priority. And this week, we made significant progress in that mission. Here's a summary of what we took on and what we accomplished. Sentences of note. A 52-year-old Virginia man was sentenced to 15 and a half years in federal prison and a lifetime of supervised release for possessing and distributing 180 videos and 560 images depicting the sexual abuse of children, and also for participating in sex tourism, which included multiple trips to the Philippines to engage in sexual activity with minors. 28-year-old, already a convicted felon for a violent assault, was caught with a stolen Glock equipped with a machine gun switch while he was still on supervised release. The gun, which he tried to hide behind a bathroom painting, fell down when police were at his apartment. He was sentenced to 70 months in prison. Let it be clear, if you terrorize our neighborhood with guns, you will be found, you will be prosecuted, and you will be removed from our streets. A 43-year-old illegal immigrant was sentenced to 24 years in prison for the beating, stabbing, and strangulation death of his children's mother in D.C. Once his sentence is completed, he will be deported to his home country of Honduras. A 36 prison for burglarizing a woman's apartment in the middle of the night, stealing her cell phone, credit cards, and a key fob which belonged to a wine cellar inside the building, all while she slept. Now, for charges and arrests. An indictment was unsealed against Jimmy Cherizier, a.k.a. Barbecue, a Haitian gang leader charged with conspiring to violate U.S. sanctions by transferring funds from the United States to fund his gang activities in Haiti. He's responsible for a great deal of the ongoing violence there, including the notorious 2018 La Saline massacre, in which 71 people were killed and 400 homes were burnt down. His U.S.-based co-conspirator was arrested in Texas. And a $5 million reward is being offered for Cherizier's arrest. And a 60-year-old child psychotherapist from D.C. has been charged with, you guessed it, distributing and possessing child pornography. The defendant is alleged to have communicated with another individual regarding his interest in the sexual abuse of children. This case is brought as part of what we call Project Safe Childhood, a nationwide initiative to combat the epidemic of child sexual exploitation and abuse. For violating the Sex Offender Registration Act and for illegally re-entering the United States. The defendant was convicted for kidnapping and sexually abusing a stranger, leading to a 5-year prison sentence. The defendant, Castillo Crespo, was deported to Mexico in January 2023, and guess what? He unlawfully returned to the U.S. We have now charged him with a federal crime of failing to register as a sex offender. And you may have heard about coordinated law enforcement actions that led to the seizure of servers, domains, and over $1 million in virtual currency connected to the Black Suit ransomware group, disrupting their operations targeting U.S. critical infrastructure. And too often we see the damage that ransomware causes to systems that then allow cyber criminals to wreak havoc on corporations and others. My office always has been and will continue to stand ready to go toe-to-toe with criminals to make victims whole again. And a 37-year-old man was charged with felony assault after cursing, berating, and ultimately throwing a Subway sandwich at a U.S. Customs and Border Protection agent. Our officers have a job to do, and I will back them to the hilt. As you know, we deal with the pain and trauma that victims experience at the hands of criminals. Our job, represent you, and as shown here, my office will go to every length to uncover criminal activity.
That's right.
One minute to play, 1 minute of thrills. Play stuck, can't grind them down. All the ammo, move it!
Oh, yes. Here we go. Look at this one here. Watch this, Jericho.
What's up, guys? Any government-run grocery stores here in America? That sounds like communism. No, it sounds like New York. New York City grocery prices are high. Could city-owned stores help? A New York mayoral candidate wants the city to open its own grocery stores, and the idea is to gain momentum. That's right. Zorhan Mandami, who's created videos like this, explaining how he's going to have the government take over all of the grocery stores. He says that on his campaign website. What could possibly go wrong? City-owned grocery stores. There you go. Food prices are out of control. Non-intended New Yorkers say the cost of groceries is rising faster than your income. Only the wealthiest are feeling squeezed. As Mayor Zohan will create city-owned grocery stores. How could that possibly backfire? Well, anybody who's ever been to a communist country, I have, can tell you that this is going to backfire horribly because, obviously, a grocery store requires on an obscene numbers of levers having to do with the free market, supply and demand, cost and stability. I saw it for myself in Cuba. Food lines out the door and down the block, walking through the aisles with nothing in the stores. And then lo and behold, in Kansas City, they open up a government-run grocery store. The media reporting on it was hysterical. This was a failing store. The city of Kansas City, which is very left-wing, decided to take it over. And the results were predictable. Here we go.
For months, the store hasn't fully been stocked. Still, person after person comes to buy groceries.
I thank the previous operator for the years they put into that, as well as their predecessor.
and now we'll try to do all we can to make sure that this works.
Mayor Quinton Lucas is disappointed. He met with the store operator 2 weeks ago for hours trying to come up with a solution.
Yeah, I know there are different challenges to how a grocery store can operate. Part of that challenge is that the city certainly has been happy to be a partner, but there's always a limit to what we will invest as well.
It comes down to money. The city owns the building and has invested nearly $29 million in the store. Still, the Sunfresh was losing money.
All of a sudden, you roll down here this morning and they're gone, and they're saying they're not coming back.
All neighbors know is there's no food here now, and they wish that wasn't the case.
I'd like to know what could be done, maybe to bring it back.
In Kansas City, Brian Johnson, KMBC 9 News.
The conclusion of this, of course, is also very predictable. City-owned grocery store in Kansas City has shut down after $29 million from the city had been invested to keep it open. Don't worry, it'll definitely work in New York City, right? Struggling city-owned Missouri Market, similar to Zoran Mandami's grocery proposal, shuts its doors. Sunfresh Market. The publicly funded grocery store in Missouri, similar to Zoran Mandami's Big Apple proposal, abruptly closed Tuesday morning, leaving a note on the entrance stating it can no longer serve the residents due to circumstances beyond our control. The Sunfresh Market in Kansas City, which opened in 2018 as part of a multi-million-dollar revitalization plan, shuttered just weeks after viral footage exposed the struggling store's bare shelves and foul odor and frustrated customers. The alarming footage taken by local stations sparked renewed skepticism of Mondami's plan to create grocery stores run by the city. Kansas City's grocery store shut down after burning through $29 million in subsidies. What could they have done for $29 million? How many potholes could they have filled? How many good things could the city have done? Kansas City-run grocery store shuts down after rampant theft, barren shelves. City spent $29 million, $30 million to keep it open. Here's the sign. Due to unforeseen circumstances outside of our control, we are no longer at this time able to serve the residents of this important community. It's always been our dream and passion to provide quality products, really. At the same time, unfortunately, we are unable to do that. And here's the reports of them closing the store.
The problems at the Sunfresh grocery store on Prospect Avenue have come to a head. The doors are locked and a sign on front the door reads, "Unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances beyond our control, we are no longer at this time able to serve the residents of this community." KSHP 41's Alyssa Jackson has gone in depth looking into issues with this grocery store over the years, including just last month when customers reported empty shelves and an odor that was just emanating from inside the store. Security concerns have also plagued the store since its opening, with city officials pledging thousands in security upgrades. The nonprofit Community Builders of Kansas City took ownership of the store in 2022. They told Alyssa Jackson this morning CBKC is no longer able to serve the residents from this Midtown Sunfresh location, and they have no other comments at this time.
Oh, you hate to see it happen. Or do you actually hate to see it happen? I actually don't hate to see it happen. Socialism doesn't work. Do you even understand the complexities of the supply and demand chains that are required to get like a fresh avocado onto the shelf, to get a ruby red grapefruit onto the shelf? Do you understand how many small economic, many supply chain variances need to roll all in the same direction for you to get a fresh avocado? Does anybody even understand how miraculous that is, that we can get that? Like in the winter, that you can get a fresh avocado up north in the winter, in Maine, in America? Yeah, it's not the government, let me assure you of that. $20 million.
What? That's only 3 tax 24.
Turned out to be a huge success, teaching residents that socialism doesn't work. Democrats in Kansas City has funneled tens of millions of taxpayers to support the grocery store. It's a rotting smell, no food. And prostitutes use the parking lot to solicit sex work. Got it. Zoran Mandami, though, says it's great. Government-funded grocery store in Kansas has failed. Shelves are completely empty, food rotted, and millions of federal dollars wasted. Another dumb Democrat.
Yeah.
We went to Cuba. We saw it for ourselves, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the proof. Can't wait to go back, actually. I want to go back and do more. A return to show people what it's truly like. You can go experience it not too far from where I am right now, just 90 miles in Havana. Here we go.
We drove over there all together. We pulled up to the grocery store, and the gates were closed, and there was a line down the street. This is insane.
Folks, something big is about to happen to this nation. This has nothing to do with wearing silly masks.
This is insane. All of a sudden, the guards come to the gate and they open the gate. And that's when, I've never seen this before, but everyone swarmed. People started running. Even people that weren't in line, that were just like in the area, just start sprinting in there because this is their only chance to get their essentials and the necessities to feed their families.
So I really hope that you like Conchita mango marmalade because we have a whole aisle of it. Here in Cuba, you can get an individually wrapped hamburger, and that's as fresh as the meat actually gets. Oh, this one's all melty. But my God, can you get a lot of the exact same brand of garbanzo beans? And then after you're done buying all these incredible products, you can stand in line for literally an hour, which is as long as we've been standing in line for. And I'm telling you, you probably are not going to like Cuba that much. There was literally no fresh fruit, no fresh meat, no fresh vegetables, nothing. There was one brand of the things they did have, and the things they didn't have, well, screw you. So, that is life inside of socialist Pan Americana here in Cuba. Socialism sucks. This area was so developed.
Wasted 29
Trump is back from his meeting with Putin. We're going to wrap this thing up with the big conclusion before I inform you completely on what we need to know. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. The beloved Miss Tenaple and my son are still in Japan, so last night I finally got some sleep. I was up the night before without her. I don't sleep well without her. We've been married 35 years. So I'm flying solo in the house. Actually, my youngest son is here, who's a poolie in the Marines. He could go into boot camp anytime between now and December when they pick him. But let's get to the big conversation here. This is Trump with his conclusion from just an hour ago on Twitter. A great and very successful day in Alaska. The meeting with President Vladimir Putin of Russia went very well, as did last night's phone call with leaders, including the highly respected Secretary General of NATO. It was determined by all the best way to go directly to a peace agreement which would end the war, and not a mere ceasefire agreement, which oftentimes do not hold up. So this is Trump. I'm going to just call it like it is, guys. He went in going for a ceasefire, and he didn't get it. And so I don't care. We can spin it all ways. Democrats are going to try and take shots at him.
President Trump, I just saw your press conference with President Putin, and it was embarrassing. I mean, you stood there like a little wet noodle, like a little fanboy. I mean, I was asking myself, when are you going to ask him for an autograph or for a selfie or something like that? I mean, you literally sold out at this press conference our intelligence community, our justice system, and worst of all, our country.
I disagree with all that. Republicans and MAGA, we're going to come out and defend him as if everything's hunky-dory. No, this is a loss for Trump. He does not control Putin. He can make promises, but in the end, Putin and Zelensky are their own world leaders, and the Trump MAGA part of the deal only goes so far. It's very important that he get in with the art of the deal, because I'm going to show you all of the positive things that have come out of this. But Trump lost his ceasefire desire, okay? And so now he has to come up with a new deal, and he's presenting a stronger deal. So agreement. He wants a peace agreement. So he upped the stakes. That's art of the deal. President Zelensky will be coming to D.C. in the Oval Office on Monday afternoon. That's this coming week. That will be all the news on Monday. If all works out, we will then schedule a meeting with President Putin. Potentially, millions of people's lives will be saved. Thank you for your attention on this matter. This is actually great news to me. I do think that President should be talking to Putin. Putin offered him to come to Moscow, and Trump goes, I don't know about that. It's dangerous, and it's just not a good place to be for him. But I do think he should continue to develop his relationship with Putin. He also needs to develop his relationship with Zelensky. And so it's great that they're coming in on Monday. Now, to the isolationists, they just go, look, we should just pull out of NATO. Fine. We shouldn't involve anything with any other country. No aid ever. Stay out of all foreign entanglements. Just don't talk to anyone. That is not.
Don't mix pink salt with lemon and 2 other ingredients if you don't want to donate your entire wardrobe in less than a week. Don't believe me? Give me 60 seconds to...
It's just don't talk to anyone. That is not how you avoid conflicts that could end up affecting us and hurting us. He's doing war by other means, which is negotiations and peace. And I think if you can talk these people down, this war, that's going to be good. And it's part of his responsibility as a leader, guys. He's not just the president of the United States. Stop a war to not stop a war. Monetary costs, he's already flipped the NATO payments, which is brilliant. Everyone gives he's demanding the other countries give 5% of their GDP to NATO or whatever to fund the war in Ukraine instead of us. He's going to talk about that later in this video. I think it's very important to do that, and he's flipped it in a great way. He got NATO, got all of them to cough in their GDP to pay us to manufacture weapons for them. So we win. We're going to get all of their military industrial complex funding our factories and our militia, which helps also strengthen and build our ability to produce bombs. Here's Trump on Air Force One with the overall philosophy. And again, this is a very different tone than you'd usually hear from one of our statesmen. Here's Trump with Bret Baier on Air Force One.
It's not for me to negotiate a deal for Ukraine, but I can certainly set the table to negotiate the deal. And our next meeting will have President Zelensky and President Putin and probably me. I'd like to focus on doing our country, but, I get these interruptions. I've solved 6 wars in 6 months when you think about it.
He'd like to just stay focused on our country, but until you become president. So all the armchair people can just say, don't touch anything. He'd like to focus on, and he's doing fine with our. He can't walk and chew bubblegum at the same time. But you can tell this is a secondary goal of his to end these wars. He does it. It's easy. He can, it's not costing him anything to do this. Here's more on we're going to talk about some of the fallout here. Trump held an hour-long call with Zelensky. Now, think of all the intel Trump gained by going and talking to Putin. Zelensky doesn't have access to that unless they have spies. They have to second guess each other. They're trying to kill each other, right? And Trump got all of this intel on Putin, and he calls Zelensky. Trump is now the smartest man in the room. He has the most direct information. He has a very tight, close, good relationship with Putin, which I think he developed on this trip, even though he said he would walk out if he doesn't get his ceasefire. He did not walk out. And remember, it was Reagan who walked out of the meeting with, was it Gorbachev? when he didn't get what he wanted. And everyone saw that as super tough. Yes, Reagan was super tough. He did it right. But Trump got enough from Putin to not walk out of the room. But he'll be called a taco. Trump always chickens out, and that's not true either. I think he's actually a very good statesman, a very good representative of the United States to Putin. So he was on an hour-long talk with Zelensky. Then G7 NATO leaders joined. Trump spoke with Zelensky for an hour from Air Force One, joined by Marco Rubio and Steve Witkoff. Remember, Marco Rubio, it's important because every 4 years we swap out our president. So you want MAGA to win in the next election in 2028 so we can extend our muscular influence in a MAGA way, not Rhino Republican way, and definitely not Democrat way. You want to push it into the future, so it's important. It's great that Marco Rubio's there. If Marco Rubio is vice president to J.D. Vance when he wins, we're going to be a step ahead on that whole relationship. Just showing you how this is incredibly good, incredibly adult way that Trump handled himself. Afterward, leaders from the UK, France, Italy, Germany, Finland, Poland, NATO's Mark Rutte, and EU chief von der Leyen joined for a 30-minute call. That's Trump talking to all of the world leaders on a phone call from Air Force One just on the way home, doing a little business and maintenance, talking strategy with them, with the wisest insight into Putin. The focus, next steps after the Putin summit, they're going to talk to more people. Here's Trump, lands in Maryland after the Putin peace summit. He returned to Maryland in a high-stakes summit with Vladimir Putin, highest stakes since 2018. Here's Trump he thinks Ukraine is very close to the deal. This is from last night from Benny Johnson. So, this is some of the fill that Trump is offering post-meeting.
The meeting was a very warm meeting. But the meeting was a very warm meeting between two very important countries, and it's very good when they get along. I think we're pretty close to a deal. Now, look, Ukraine has to agree to it. Maybe they'll say no, because Biden handed out money like it was candy, and Europe gave him a lot of money. We gave him $350 billion. Europe gave him much less, but still a lot, $100 billion.
Now, the point is, everyone stupid, because if no one gave money to the war, Ukraine would be done. They would be owned by Russia. So the only question is it wise to keep Russia from owning Ukraine?
Here's how to own the libs in 2025 and get a free gold coin. Starting this month, the 1776 MAGA research
Russia from owning Ukraine. And how much should it cost? Now, it's great seeing Trump meet Putin. CNN hates it. Tells you everything you need to know. So this is just a clip from Jack Posobiec. CNN reported Trump was angry at Putin after the meeting, and we're just going to look at their body language here. Does this look like he's angry with Putin? Look at these two men chumming it up. I really think friendship or respect between Trump and Putin, look at that, that's respect, is a very good thing for peace. Again, I want to see something come of this. So there's two ways to negotiate, right? Carrot and stick. Everyone only knows stick with Putin. Bomb him, assassinate him, take him out, strong arm him. And Trump is our carrot. Orange man, carrot. He is doing friendlier things. He did the same thing with Rocket Man when he met him. And I think it's very good statecraft. Now we're going to get into, I wanted to go to John Solomon at Just the News because he's someone I respect a lot. This is his take on if there's any good news, he's very sober about it. As President Donald Trump has achieved historic peace deals across the globe, media treatment of his presidency is on track to resemble the predetermined critical nature shown in Trump's first term. Near the 100th day of his second term, Media Research Center, a conservative leading media watchdog, found that 92% of mainstream media coverage of Trump has been consistently negative. So we already know what they're going to say about this meeting. Right? 92% negative. The contrast to former President Joe Biden, who enjoyed 59% positive news coverage, though he never did anything, his biggest world accomplishment was destroying us, surrendering in Afghanistan. The biggest debacle ever. Shows a glaring double standard when it comes to recognizing White House success, particularly in the era of foreign policy. A Google search yielded no footage of U.S. networks covering the historic landing of the El Al jet in UAE in 2020 after the adoption of the Abraham Accords. So he's giving all the negative on them. On Friday, Trump and President Putin conducted a press conference at Joint Base Elmendorf, Richardson, and Anchorage, Alaska, after discussions aimed at resolving the Russia-Ukraine conflict. On stage, featuring a Pursuing Peace banner, both leaders signified their intent to broker a ceasefire, though no deal was revealed. That Pursuing Peace banner, by the way, was huge. It's marketing. You have Putin and Trump meeting on a stage with the giant words "Pursuing Peace." That's Trump's message to Putin, and Putin came on our land and stood under that banner. Good marketing. Pledged for many years, which is the Russian-Ukraine conflict would not have transpired if Trump was in office in 2022. Admits that Trump was in office, not Biden. This war would never have happened. Trump characterized the talks as extremely productive, saying the two men made great progress. We didn't get there, but we have a very good chance of getting there, Trump told the press. This is Trump eating some crow, having to be humble yet positive, still keeping a firm grip on the situation, trying to. Last month, Trump facilitated a ceasefire between Cambodia and Thailand. These are all the positive things that he did. Or he goes into the Taliban takeover of Kabul in Afghanistan under Biden, which we mentioned. This is for contrast of what Biden did and how the Democrats downplayed that disaster. So this is just some good media savvy stuff. Nothing real big on the outcome of this whole story, but there's more here. Elon Musk, can you address this? This is Brian Kranzenstein. This is what he said. This is a Democrat pro-Ukraine. They should have had snipers in Anchorage, Alaska, ready to take him out as soon as he shrugged. He asked for an assassination. Here he is down here. Correction, we should have poisoned him instead. Make it less obvious. That's just not good. And by the way, his account was frozen on X for asking for the assassination of a world leader. Democrats are psycho. They only know the stick. By the way, I don't even think it would help if you took out Putin. I don't believe he's Putin strong. This is my own opinion of the guy, and I'll show you a little bit coming up here. I think Putin is a Manchurian candidate, a kind of a puppet, and the oligarchs actually run that country. I think there's a lot of evidence for that. The men that he brought with him in this meeting with Trump are the real ones in charge of his country, and he is subservient to them. He's strangled by them, and he will not act outside of what they want. That's my opinion of that country, and I think I can back it up a little bit here. Here's one of them. This is fascinating footage to me. This is a pro-Putin media source. He got press access. He's going to show you a behind the scenes of all of the press.
Now, we're here at the press center, but probably everybody's already seen this area. But I'm about to take you to a whole other part.
Our military guarding.
Not a lot of people.
So he just showed you kind of the cafeteria area where they all, the press is outside on all their fold-out tables in Alaska. I want to show you how huge this operation is. This shows all the behind-the-scenes cameras,
are
handlers.
Able to go right now because that is the room where the press conference with both presidents is going to be held in just a few hours.
He's heading up to the Pursuing stage. That's the stage from the back, you'll see.
Because we have special access, because we're part of
this guy's checking his badge.
The tight pool, as it's called. So this is where it's going to be.
This guy got a third row seat.
Both presidents. Who out of the Russian delegation will be here, and this is where Putin's special representative participants of the negotiations will.
So he's showing you, these are the oligarchs that actually run the country. And by the way, you can see also on each seat, it's a little headphones and this little broadcast unit that allows a live translation to all of them. So all of these front rows, anyone speaking another language gets a translator in their ear.
And here in the first row, this is where Foreign Minister Lavrov will be sitting, and this is another Putin's envoy, Yuri Ushakov, they will be sitting here in the first row.
Now, all those seats, just to make a note, this is what I mean by Putin is not in charge of his own country. This meeting initially, when Trump announced it, it was going to be a private meeting between just Trump and Putin. And then suddenly it came down to 3 of each guy's side was going to be at the meeting. So Trump brought Marco Rubio and 2 others, and Putin had his oligarchs. And that's because I believe, not because Marco Rubio's in charge of our state. He's not. Trump had to just fill his seats. It's Putin's run by those 3 oligarchs of his country, and so there can't be a peace deal without them. That's my theory. That's why I think this went from a one-on-one private meeting to a 4-on-4 meeting, which gave Putin a little more. Here's Laura Ingraham with the actual clip where Putin admits to everyone he would not have invaded Ukraine if Trump.
If he was the president back then, there will be no war.
Come on. Let's go. What time today?
I was a living zombie with dementia. My family sent me to a nursing home to die, but what happened next could only be described as a miracle. I couldn't remember where I was
President.
Today, when President Trump saying that if he was the president back then, there will be no war. And I'm quite sure that it would indeed be so. I can confirm that. I think that overall, me and President Trump have built a very good, business-like, and trustworthy contact.
So this, that's him. That's the biggest bombshell of the whole meeting. You know, everyone's arguing about, do we fund this? Do we send missiles? What are we going to do? How do we manipulate NATO? Let's have all these meetings. All of this could have been avoided if America didn't put an X next to a Democrat. Democrats cause war. Weakness cause war. The way that you make peace is you prepare for war. You up all your military, you project strength, and suddenly every little dictator in the world doesn't think they can take over a country. So all the Democrats can complain about Trump all they want. They just heard from he would not have gone into Ukraine under Trump, period. Now, on developing our relationship, I just want to show you, this is a cool act of kindness. This is the American jets escorted Putin's plane back to Russia. Putin is being guarded by our Air Force as we walk him back to Russia. This is incredible statecraft. Putin's plane escorted by our plane. Very cool. I'm going to show you the significance of this. Why is that significant? Well, I'm going to take you back in time to a time. This is how Russian aircraft treats us in the air. We have, that's a good guy ship right there. Now watch this Russian aircraft push them out of the way. That's a back off move. And violent and aggressive. That's how wars are started, by the way, if there's a collision. I got another one for you. Here's another one. This is one of our pilots. This is the Su-35S pilot showed the American F-16 that it is not worth approaching the Russian Tu-95MS strategic bomber, filmed on September 23rd near Alaska. So there's a bomber. This over here is the Russian bomber, and this is our pilot going to look at that bomber, and watch this move. Here we are, we're heading for the bomber, let's get out, and boom. That's a Russian aircraft flying us. That is a very bad move, and our pilot didn't see him coming. It came from nowhere. Not good. So this is why developing a friendship with Putin, not to help him pull off a war, but it's good for us. And then this is my imitation of me learning about Ukraine because I'm a barely literate comic book artist who knows nothing. This is Krasenstein, or whatever his name is, stumping Ann Coulter. Watch this.
He definitely wants all of Ukraine. It is historically part of Russia. I'm not defending him. He invaded the country. Shouldn't have done that. But that's what he wants. He's made it very clear.
Not all of Ukraine is historically part of Russia, but fine. I'm from Russia, so.
Look at this long, she's not frozen there. This is a long pause as she's thinking.
Where did the word for Ukraine come from?
It means borderland.
There's a Russian word, and it was something like Ukraine or something. I'm talking
Ukraine, but that's a Ukrainian word. It means borderland. So Western Ukraine used to be part of Poland. Eastern Ukraine was part of Russia, and most of southern Ukraine.
Okay, I'm not believing you, but we'll.
You're not believing?
No.
Why not? What do you mean you're not believing me?
I want to go look it up.
Oh, okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's me talking about Ukraine because I know nothing. We're learning. That's why I'm doing these videos, to give us more backfill. I hope you've learned something. I've enjoyed learning more about this more than ever. And everyone wants to, everyone knows all the facts, going, get out of NATO. We don't know that. Stop funding Ukraine. I don't know that. I know I don't want to fund Ukraine. I want to feed our people and take care of us. But you can easily see how if you go right instead of left with statecraft, if Trump does something wrong, the way Biden did, you cause a war by just being an isolationist and being an idiot, being a man in a coma. And if just imagine Kamala Harris meeting with Putin. What would she do? She'd go out there and she'd probably try and assassinate him. They'd probably just blow the meeting. Positive came out of this is my point. I thank God that Trump is our president. I feel even more confident in what he's doing over there. And this story doesn't end because Monday, Zelensky comes to America and Trump deals with Zelensky, the man with no cards, and NATO. I hope you like this kind of content. I hope you'll subscribe. I'm trying to get up to 600,000 subs. I'm Doug in exile.
Watch me go from meal plan panic to meal plan perfection. 5 reasons why Factor actually saves me money. Eating clean at home can be pricey, but Factor does my shopping and cooking for me. Factor is ready in 2...
Come on. Seriously.
White liberal woman fatigue.
I experience a lot of climate anxiety.
Why did not? There you go. Oh yeah, this one's funny too.
What?
What? Is it gonna rain? Is it gonna snow? I'm not okay.
Yeah,
No.
Everybody's saying, what radicalized you? What radicalized you? I don't know! My mommy told me to be a good person!
In this video, we're going to be looking at some examples of this, such as a waitress and a photographer who refused to give service to MAGA, and also a teacher who is teaching her students that Donald Trump is Hitler. And then we have a woman freaking out about how much she hates a certain very popular political commentator. So this video is going to put your emotional control to the test. Will we be able to stay calm while watching these liberals rant? Let's find out. Please make sure that you are subscribed. Starting with Exhibit A.
Oh, what a day. What a week. We had a guy come in today wearing a fucking MAGA hat, and I walked away from the register. And I said, nope, not waiting on him, not handing him food, not making him food, absolutely not. Yeah, I have a red shirt on, but it's my work shirt, and my company's on the side. But other than that, I don't think I really own any red shirts.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I remember some girl felt screaming.
But I'm like, no. And honestly, anytime anyone does walk in with a hat like that on, I walk away. I don't care if I get it right now. I don't care. Especially with everything that's been going on lately, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm not going to wait on you. It's not going to happen.
You're the idiot.
With everything going on, our cities are getting cleaner, our country's safer. It is seriously so overwhelming. I don't know how somebody could support that. On a side note, why do liberal women always act like they are so exhausted? As if they have been working so hard and life is just so difficult and they're just always complaining. That bothers me. I'm not angry about it. Okay, I still have my cool. but maybe, just maybe, this girl will make me lose it. Let's find out.
Hello. To answer your question on why I wouldn't want to take money from a MAGA person, I don't really want their money, and it's not worth it. And to me, you know, my job, I spend all day with couples shooting weddings, and I'm involved, you know. I'm there for their values, I'm there for their union and their family. And I personally don't want to spend my time with people that talk about immigrants in nasty ways, because I'm a daughter of an immigrant. I don't want to be around people that talk about women in a gross way, or queer people, because I'm a queer woman. And yeah, I don't do.
Wow, she really marks all the boxes.
Business.
This is so funny. So she is in the wedding photography business, and conservatives are more likely to know if this is going to help her business that much. Also, how can you claim to fully understand the values of a certain group if you refuse to ever even be around them? Okay, hopefully this next girl will make a little bit more sense.
Break up with your Republican boyfriends. Ladies, I don't think you understand the amount of social capital that you hold. By continuing to date these Republican men or not political or didn't vote guys, you are inadvertently supporting this movement with, one, your body and your affection, and two, not allowing these men, usually who I'm speaking on, men, to understand the consequences of their actions. They voted against you. They voted against your body. They voted against your rights. And here we are, I'm saying we because I used to be guilty of it too, supporting and getting into relationships with the people that hold these values deeply.
How can somebody consider it a value to end the life of a human being? And you're saying you shouldn't be with these men that value human life, because it's not your body and it's not a right to murder.
Even if they say that they didn't vote or they're not into politics, there is no such thing anymore. Either you're about what's going on. I wish I could go back and tell 22-year-old me, like, it's not worth being in a relationship with someone who sees so severely. It's never worth it.
So the whole point of this video was actually to promote her merch. This is very insane. To say that you should completely rule out more than half of the population, I think is very drastic, because there's really good men out there, and odds are a lot of them are Republican, and dating is already so difficult for a lot of women. So telling them to completely rule out so many good men is pretty messed up. Quick pause, because I think that this lady would want liberal women to date someone like this, maybe?
This is breaking news, and this has been confirmed by numerous workers at multiple Mexican restaurants across the country. Just so you know, anyone wearing a MAGA hat, MAGA shirt, or bragging about President Trump at a Mexican restaurant, the workers are spitting in their food. Yep, just so you know, if you're a MAGA representative, if you got the hat, the shirt, or you're talking about how you love representative workers, Mexican workers across the country are spitting in their food.
Honestly, this guy...
I'm obsessed with this Olay Hyaluronic Body Wash, and it's 10 times more vitamin.
Would make an incredible pair. Also, why are so many white liberal women teachers?
Today's August 12th, and it is our second day of school. I teach high school. I teach U.S. history. And it is getting to the point that I already am not sure what I'm going to say about some of the stuff that is going on.
Maybe don't. I remember being in high school, and when teachers, in a private high school, by the way, but we would have some liberal teachers, and they just always had to push their political agenda. And it's like, why?
Because if you don't know, teenagers, these kids are very aware of what is going on, and they want to talk about it and they want to understand why these things are happening, and they are truly worried. And it's hard to prevent them from drawing certain conclusions when you look at things from a historical context. When I know full well that we're going to spend a lot of time talking about World War II, and they're very interested in it. They're very interested in learning about Hitler. The gravity of me being their high school history teacher is not lost on me. I can really impact how they see our country and how they understand history, and I know how important that was for me as a student and even as an adult. There's still things and I'm a history teacher, and I'm still learning new things about American history all the time. But if you look at what is happening right now in a historical lens, we are undeniably following certain patterns and repeating certain historical I don't know, I don't even like to say it.
I feel like I'm in her class right now, and I'm already daydreaming. I just want to sleep. Our country is repeating the past that wasn't even our past, but I look for connections wherever I want, and I paint history however I want, because that is my duty as a wonderful history teacher who never stops learning.
It seems like if we are not already there, we are getting closer and closer to some kind of breaking point.
Why is she acting like her students want her to teach them all the parallels between Trump and Hitler more than she wants to do it? Because clearly she's the one who's more excited about that, and she acts like she has some type of little secret that she's not sure if she should share with them, but the students are just dying to know. Stop. The students already know that Trump gets all of these insults thrown at him all the time. Okay, you're not presenting something new.
Everybody's saying, what radicalized you? What radicalized you? I don't know! My mommy told me to be a good person!
Oh, look at that talk.
I don't know! That's what I did! What did everybody else fucking do?
Oh my.
Jeez,
okay, if there's one video that makes you a little tense and scared, it'd be this one. This has to be some type of version of 5-year-old stuck in 20-year-old's body.
Saying, what radicalized you? What radicalized you? I don't know! My mommy told me to be a good person!
You need your medication, let's just say.
I think this is the effects of watching too much TikTok. I've actually seen videos that say it causes some type of Tourette's where people are just, I'm not being mean, I'm just observing.
I don't know! That's what I did! What did everybody else fucking do?
It would be so funny if I made videos like that. I'm just like, hey guys! Kind of sad. Just wanted to quickly remind you about the live Q&A coming up this Friday on the Patreon. I would love for you to join us. The link is in the description. On with the video. It's a little sad.
I hate Charlie Kirk! I hate him! I hate him! I hate him! I hate him!
Wait! Why does this woman have the same exact behavior pattern of just screaming?
I hate Charlie Kirk! I hate him! I hate him! I hate him! I hate him!
Man, they need their medication bad.
Okay. Or I don't know if people think it's quirky. Glamorizing mental illness is maybe the thing. I find it really funny that Kamala Harris's stepdaughter or Tim Walz's daughter, they believe that we care about their political opinion because they have a relative who was in politics.
I feel disgust at what's going on in the world around genocides, the loss of rights, the loss of health care, the just general fear that everyone has surrounding affordability, their lives, their livelihood, like everything. It feels so big. I think everything with the environment is really fucking getting to me. And it is I experience a lot of climate anxiety, but
what?
A lot of us do. It's not funny. It's just.
It is funny. It's frankly hilarious that you have climate anxiety. Is it gonna rain? Is it gonna snow? Is it gonna get too hot 200 years from now?
Like, it's one of those things that's not funny, but maybe you just like nervous laugh about it because it's scary. It is.
I'm hysterically laughing at the fact that you have
are happening and
all these things. Guys, seriously, climate anxiety, you should be concerned. If you do not have the ability to look around life and point out everything that is negative or anything that could possibly make you feel scared or make you feel concerned, then you are not a productive human being. Apparently, in Kamala Harris's stepdaughter's eyes. I'm sorry, but you live in America and there's a million gazillion reasons to be grateful. And even if Kamala Harris got elected, still, we should try to put our focus on the positive, the things that we can control. You cannot control the weather, but you can control what you do with it. I have climate anxiety and I'm real sad and everybody's so scared. Shut up. It's not about the Trump presidency. It's about you taking control of your own life, no matter who is in office, okay?
It's gonna take us stopping work, okay? Did you guys get that? Like, we have to strike. We have to stop paying our bills. We have to stop.
One of my favorite quotes is, "You cannot get rich by demand."
This insanity. None of us are okay. And I would just like to end this video by reminding you that every single problem that we are facing in the United States of America and in the rest of the world could be solved by billionaires. They could solve every problem that drives people like me insane. They could solve homelessness. They could solve.
Yeah, it's always somebody else's responsibility, right? Why do we constantly look at the world and think that's than me? Somebody else has more talents. Somebody else should be doing something about these problems instead of thinking, what could I be doing to yada yada yada, the things that we care about. Also, why has it become such a common thinking for people to think that they should be able to decide how another person spends their money just because they have more of it? This girl has already lost it.
A man who works hard sweats hard. Old Spice swagger fights sweat. So Coach
This girl has already lost it.
What the fuck is the point of being here? If we can't have basic, decent human decency, what is the point of being here? Why are you guys okay with black people being murdered and brown people being deported and Asian people having acid thrown in their face and people being starved to death in Palestine? Like, death to you idiots, cause what?
I think Jack only put out there.
She agrees. What the f are we doing as humans?
He meant the help, girl.
Oh my god. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Alright guys, this is the one video that is making me feel the fatigue a little bit. Just comes up with all of these things and they project all of these ideas onto you about what you believe when none of that is true. It's like you're getting upset about things that you're making up.
You know, I wasn't going to say anything about this, but I'm just so beyond shocked that it's gotten to this point. I don't even know what else to do. Like, I live in America and I am scared. I haven't liked this country for a while, but now I'm just beyond in shock.
Bye.
Adios.
Leave them. Go somewhere else and you'll see what it means to be scared.
We've been losing so many human rights. It's It's absolutely insane. Like
All the
why
human
do people want to
rights.
control each other so much and be so greedy? Like we are literally all human. Why is that so hard to accept? Why is it that we can't have easy access healthcare? Like there's fucking basic human things. And why is the living situation so expensive? Like I can't even get an apartment here for less than like $2,000 a month.
That's the Democrat
Okay,
Party.
and whose
Fucking
fault
libtard.
is that? At this point, it seems like to be able to afford America, you have to be earning money, you know? And so if you cannot, maybe the solution would be to find ways to make more money. Not just be like, my life is hard, who's gonna fix this? I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna wait until somebody comes around and makes rent cheaper. Or something like that. That's not going to happen. You're going to be waiting a long time. That's how she's making money to pay rent. Let's see what the book is about.
And fascists fear teachers. I warn about the dangers of these attacks on knowledge and pluralism, and I spell out the ways we can fight back. And it will be in bookstores in September.
Oh, wow. Dang. She got into Barnes & Noble, maybe. I cannot hate on the hustle. In life, there are things that turn us off and turn us on. And we should know which are which and just get turned on for life. Get motivated. Get the stuff done that you want to do this week. And start out by subscribing to my channel. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Boy, I think
show me something that TikTok overhyped, but actually got.
I don't know. This is the one or not. There's one there, man.
Got it right, baby. For me,
I visit hundreds of campuses every year, and I see it everywhere. Kids are struggling to deal with their emotions, and it's taking a serious toll on their mental health. That's why I'm excited about Angel Studios' newest family film, Sketch. It's a fun, creative story about a little girl who drops her sketchbook into a magical pond, and suddenly all her wild, messy drawings come to life. This is something I've been telling you about for a few months now, so if you're already a Premium Guild member, you have your 2 free tickets, and if not, then become a Premium Angel Guild member today and get 2 free tickets to see Sketch in theaters August 6th. If you're ready to see more movies like Sketch, movies that are fun, hilarious, and meaningful, go to angel.com/Kirk and become a Premium Angel Guild member today. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Email us, as always, freedom@charliekirk.com. Here at the bitcoin.com are Ask Me Anything, where only if you are a member at members.charliekirk.com are you able to come on this show, members.charliekirk.com. That is members.charliekirk.com. All right, Anthony, how we doing?
Not bad. How about yourself?
Doing great. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So my question is this to you. It's okay for Newsom to clean up San Francisco when Ping shows up, but it's not okay for Trump to clean up the crime and everything in D.C. Don't these mayors, governors of these cities and states want to have respectable states, respectable cities where people want to come visit, do business, attract new people to move there? Don't they care about that, or they just want chaos?
That is a great point. And just to remind everybody, what Gavin Newsom did is when there was some sort of a summit or something hosted in San Francisco, they cleaned up the streets of San Francisco. You would think that it was the streets of Tokyo. It shows that crime, open-air drug use, homelessness is a choice, and our leaders embrace that choice. They embrace the idea. They actively and openly embrace the idea of we're just going to live with crime. But if Xi Jinping comes to town, when their, master comes to town, then they start cleaning things up. We can choose to fix things. We see this in Washington, D.C. By the way, let me read you a text message that I got from a reporter, a major reporter. He says, unrelated, because he was asking me about something else. He says, Charlie, I personally don't know anybody in D.C. who thinks the crime level is acceptable and that the National Guard presence is unwarranted. Not one. That is a major reporter for a huge outlet. Which goes to show, why is that not yet materializing in a lot of the stories of the New Washington Press Corps? Just think about how dishonest you must be. You support what President Trump is doing, but you're openly writing stuff against Donald Trump. That's really dark stuff. And as we said, let's play that piece of tape of that black guy. It was a great piece of tape where he says, walking the streets of D.C., no more weed smell. We did a whole show on that yesterday, that just the smell of weed is an affront to our senses. And we're going to clean up graffiti, fill the potholes too. Let's play that piece of tape. It's here on the cut sheet somewhere. You guys can send it in there. And it's 4:06. That goes to show things are already cleaning up. And again, we can choose to fix things. This is one of the things that the left-wing mind is trying to do to the West. They want you to act as if, oh, you can't fix it. It's too difficult. Enough. We're going to cut through the bureaucracy, cut through the red tape. If we have to call in the National Guard, if we have to call in the military, we're going to do that. Play cut 406, please.
Man, down the city is quiet as a church motion. I came all the way down Pennsylvania Avenue this morning. So peaceful, yeah. I don't smell no weed, yeah. I don't see no homeless people. I mean, I came all the way through the southeast side, all the way down here. You see now I'm at the White House jump, man. It's quiet, yeah. It's a shame that it takes somebody to have to sit in your classroom in order for you to be in order, yeah. Because that's what it feels like, yeah. You gotta be babysitted to do your job, yeah. Stuff been out of control for years. You gotta do better, yeah. You gotta do better, yeah. And mainly, yeah, you got the problems. It's us, man. It's always us giving everybody a bad name, yeah.
These are quality of life issues, and they might seem little, but they're massive. They're major. When you can't go to a park, I mean, for example, during the inauguration, we had our entire family in Washington, D.C. And my daughter was like, I want to go play in the park. And honestly, some of the parks in Washington, D.C., you would not bring your kids to at all. They have homeless, they have drug addicts. It was so interesting. So when I was in the White House, one of the staffers, I was overhearing a conversation. I was there recently. And one of the staffers is a young girl, probably mid-20s, as a lot of the White House staff is. And she was talking to just, one of the other security guys in the lobby there. And they said, oh, there's protests against Trump because he's doing this. And she says, obviously, yes, I support it. And she works for Trump. And she says, me and my friends, we have our entire schedule and our entire route through D.C. to avoid the scary people. And I listened intently. And the guy's like, the scary people? She says, oh, yeah, we call them the scary people. We have a group text message of all the people that live in my condominium, that live in my neighborhood, and we're always there. And that's, it's a very interesting term. That is American citizen living in the nation's capital. She says, I do not leave my house after 9 p.m., period. My condo. She says, I just go in, lock the door, double lock the door, watch Netflix, and that's it. If I have to take out the trash or go for the walk or go to CVS, I'll use Uber Eats or DoorDash just to get the stuff I need, because I refuse to go leave the home. Not only is that a stressful way to live, that is a failure of our leaders. That is a fundamental failure of what our leaders should be doing to deliver a better country for their citizens. And so, to your point, Anthony, it's a good one. Not only has Gavin Newsom been, you could call it hypocritical, but it's more hierarchy than it is hypocrisy. But Gavin Newsom, he's okay cleaning up the streets for Xi Jinping and then allowing them to get dirty again for the American citizenry.
Right.
But he is completely uninterested in supporting President Trump for cleaning up D.C. And let me just say that there's another clip here that basically a woman it's gone very viral. She said, I'm finally able to chill at a red light with my windows down, not worried about if one of them young N-words is coming. That's her words, not mine. Riding through the city feeling more safe than I've ever felt. Everybody, if this continues, say the N-word. I suppose those are the cultural rules. So she says, I got my windows down and, I'm not going to be carjacked. So she's finally feeling safe to be able to have the windows down in our nation's capital. Let me just say, for the liberals that have gone in, the leftists that have gone all in trying to pose Donald Trump's mobilization in the National Guard, if there is now a before and after picture,
Men over 50 should not be running, lifting, or crunching. There's a smarter way.
If there is now a before and after picture, this will be a very, very serious political, I don't want to say death blow, but challenge to the urban Democrat core. This will now live in folklore in Black America and inner city America. Remember when Trump brought in the National Guard? It was so safe that August. Why can't we have more from that? It'll be free from fear. And so if we are successful, so far we are. So far we're seeing, again, not totally successful, but these sort of little testimonials, you can't fake that. DC will hopefully improve even more so over time, and DC will undoubtedly get better once you ignore and overcome the people that just want to protest you because they think Trump is being mean or cruel. And so I'm optimistic with this. Gavin Newsom does not care about his citizens. He does not care about San Francisco. He doesn't care about Los Angeles. He doesn't care about the fires. And meanwhile, we have President Donald Trump defying what all the expert class has done and mobilizing the National Guard. And if we can say, hey, crime was A and then it turned to B, what a contrast, what a before and after story that we will be able to tell. Let's play that actually. Let's play cut 506. Did we blur out the naughty word? Let's play cut 506.
Finally able to chill at a red light with my window down, not worried about if one of them young is coming. Ride through the city, feeling more safe than I ever felt.
Safer than I've ever felt. Do you notice? She said, I'm able to roll down my windows, be able to chill, and not worried about if one of those young white supremacists. It's interesting. She's not worried that white supremacists are going to go carjack her car.
You know, last week I was at the White House for a wonderful event that the president held for Purple Heart recipients. And that meant that I had the chance to do as I do every couple of months, head to our nation's capital. Washington, D.C. is the showplace of Washington last year. Donald Trump is right. It is important that D.C. be a model of successful urban Democratic Party rule for decades. It's been anything but. In the 1980s and 1990s, it was the murder capital of the U.S. More than any other city, except maybe New York, where socialist Zohran Mamdani wants to open the jails and turn the cops into social workers, Washington is America's front door. Yeah. Here's the president talking about front doors this week.
My father always used to tell me, I had a wonderful father, very smart, and he used to say, son, when you walk into a restaurant and you see a dirty front door, don't go in. Because if the front door is dirty, the kitchen's dirty also. Same thing with the Capitol. If our Capitol's dirty, our whole country is dirty, and they don't respect us.
It's true. To use another example, how many times have you gone into the bathroom at a restaurant that was filthy and wonder what the kitchen looked like? My D.C. experience last week confirmed much of what the president discussed as he announced a federal takeover of the Metropolitan Police Department, invoking Section 740 of the District of Columbia's Home Rule Act and deploying 800 National Guard troops to the nation's capital. Walking up 14th Street, not far from the White House and the monuments, the homeless and the mentally ill were on every block. In front of one of my favorite restaurants, a man was away from the perceived danger. There were also people still wearing masks on the sidewalk. Transgender pride flags hung from every light pole. And at a bus stop, a public service ad aimed at gay men, reminding them to get tested for STDs. Welcome to our nation's capital, folks. There are a lot of reasons for this urban decay: the massive failure of welfare programs, the left's degradation of morality, the family and unaccountable public teachers unions, as well as the previous administration's open border policies and the abrogation long ago of involuntary confinement laws. Trump is taking a big risk getting involved in the management of Washington, D.C., but he's right to do it. You see, the president understands broken windows theory, put into practice perhaps most famously by Rudy Giuliani in New York in the 1990s. Graffiti isn't just graffiti. It's a sign of lawlessness. A dilapidated row house or an overgrown park isn't just another symbol of decay. It becomes a drug den or a place where gangs can congregate. When D.C.'s government spends millions on Black Lives Matter Plaza, but the city has a higher murder rate than Islamabad, Pakistan, and Bogota, Colombia. Those are facts, folks. Residents and businesses have less of a sense of community, less pride in their neighborhoods, and they're less willing to work toward positive change. When there is crime statistics, underreporting or lack of reporting for the sake of propping up sunny rhetoric of Democrat politicians, which is people simply feel abandoned in their own community. You know, the president isn't only trying to get the gangs off the streets, he wants to make Washington beautiful again. As the left began marching through our institutions in the 1960s, architecture in Washington began to look a lot more like Soviet Russia than the glory of Rome. It's understandable. Remember, Skousen's 45 points, the goals of American communism, they include discrediting American culture by degrading all form of artistic expression, eliminating all good sculpture from parks and buildings, and substituting shapeless, awkward, and meaningless forms. That's right. The left wants to promote ugliness, repulsive, meaningless art, and that goes for architecture as well. Our nation's capital today is pockmarked by concrete, brutalist architecture. Don't think that this is a real thing. Folks, this is a picture of Barack Obama's presidential library going up in Chicago. I'm not kidding. Take a look at that. Whatever it is. On Inauguration Day, in fact, President Trump signed an executive order that will mandate, quote, federal public buildings should be visually identifiable as civic buildings and respect regional, traditional, and classical architectural heritage in order to uplift the beauty of public spaces and ennoble the United States and our system of self-government. Sounds pretty good to me. Democrats scoffed at the idea. The president's new privately funded East Wing ballroom at the White House will doubtlessly reflect the best traditions of federal-style architecture. While the left groans and laughs, but, you know, people should be surrounded by beauty and majesty, particularly when they come to Washington. You know, people may say that the folks who live in D.C., they get the government that they deserve, and to some degree, that's true. But the federal city has always been different from the very beginning of our republic. It should be an exemplar of our entire nation, its values and its optimism, its power, its success, and its significance. It is long past time one of its most famous residents, the President of the United States, stepped up to help. Way to go, President Trump, for being the one to try to do it.
Starting this month, the 1776 MAGA Resurgence Initiative is taking the nation by storm,
The greatest honor history can bestow is the title of Peacemaker. This honor now beckons America. The chance to help lead the world at last out of the ground of peace that man has dreamed of since the dawn of civilization. If we succeed, generations to come will say.
Tulsi Gabbard's next target, Anthony Fauci. He is officially under investigation in a program that we did not pay for and conduct gain of function research. Welcome to Doug in Exile. Shout out to the Quad Club, my people that watch 4 videos a day. Thank you. You help keep the lights on. I love hearing from you in the chat. You guys really make my day. I look forward to reading from you. Down in the chat below, first, here's Tulsi Gabbard. We have 2 announcements from her. This is the first one where she officially announces they're going after Fauci.
Is hearing in Congress. Dr. Fauci is yet the latest example of how the Democrat elite in Washington will stop at absolutely nothing in their crusade for more control and more power, which obviously comes at the expense of our freedom, the expense of the interests of the American people. So Dr. Fauci is just the latest amongst the worst offenders. Sadly, there are so many examples that we can point to. You guys who watch me know that I use the word Democrat elite a lot. People ask me, who are these Democrat elite that you speak of?
See, she used to be a Democrat, but she was never a Democrat elite, which is why she had to leave the Democrat Party.
Yes, it's people like Joe Biden, people like Hillary Clinton, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer. But it's important to recognize that it is also unelected officials like Fauci, who has shown throughout his entire career serving under both Democrat and Republican administrations through his actions that he serves his own interests and the interests of big pharma of the American people. The insidious part about this is that he and others take these actions and abuse their power in the name of working for our best interests when in fact they are doing the exact opposite.
They always say, it's not for me. I'm trying to help you. Don't come after me. I'm doing this for your own good.
Example, as you remember, during COVID, Dr. Fauci demanded that we place blind faith in him and the government. They said, just trust us. Just trust the science, that we are acting in the interest of your public health. But over time, we saw what it was really about. It was about control. It was about more money, huge amounts of money, our taxpayer dollars being put directly into the pockets of big pharma. They didn't care about the truth. In fact, they outwardly and very brazenly rejected science, rejected the truth, and just labeled their lies as science and the truth.
And that's literally true when Fauci said, I am science. Fauci declared himself, he said, I am science. This kind of hubris did come out. It is in public. He does have some responsibility to show for his gain of function research. We have more on new inroads into the Clinton Foundation, Clinton donors. We're going to hit Hillary just as hard as Fauci in this episode. I'll let her continue.
Now we know Fauci has lied to Congress numerous times, including the lie that the National Institute of Health did not and does not perform or fund gain of function. It's a crime that Democrats have imprisoned Republicans for, lying under oath before Congress. But here's the thing, is Democrats from ever being prosecuted and go after their opponents. We also know now that Fauci's team has been exposed through hearings yesterday and today. They worked behind the scenes to cover up the origins of the COVID outbreak.
So I think covering up the origins of the COVID outbreak is not as bad or deadly as participating in gain of function research. That's the one. And of course, we'll only get them on lying under oath. Is the only way we can get him in jail, just by lying. I mean, he should be serving a life sentence even for conducting gain of function research. That's making viruses more deadly so they can anticipate where they're going to go. And we forbid that practice because in engineering viruses to become more deadly, they could get out. There are numerous warnings about that Wuhan facility in China that they had sloppy protocols, and lo and behold, it got out. And then they lied saying, well, its origins could have come from a wet market there in Wuhan, but not the actual Wuhan lab. So that was how it's all tied. There's another part of this, a little more expansion on this from Megyn Kelly interviewing Tulsi Gabbard. I just thought I'd give you a little refresher on this too.
But the thing that we are working with Jay Bhattacharya, the new NIH director, on.
Bhattacharya, who was stripped by every university and heralded for saying that the lockdowns could be more damaging and extreme and damage more people than letting people go out and get herd immunity. That was Jay Bhattacharya. Trump puts him in his administration.
Watch what milk does to your eyes. Take a look at these two retina scans.
Come on.
Both look sharp, focused, and
looking at the gain of function research that in the case of the Wuhan lab, as well as many of these other biolabs around the world,
like in Ukraine,
was actually U.S. funded and leads to this dangerous kind of research that in many examples has resulted in either a pandemic or some other
major health crisis.
Well, let me ask you specifically, because we already know that EcoHealth Alliance was partnering with this Wuhan lab to do gain-of-function research. Right.
EcoHealth Alliance, that's the one that Fauci works with, and Francis Collins.
We just have never been able to have somebody say, it was that exact experiment that led to this COVID bug. But have we gotten there? What's the new thing that you're digging in on? We are working on that with Jay Bhattacharya and look forward to being able to share that.
Jay Bhattacharya is the first scientist to go in and look to find what was the actual experiment done that caused done under gain-of-function research. They don't have a date. They don't have a specific time. They have a lot of innuendo and stuff, and that's not enough to nail a guy. You have to get the red-handed data. Well, Jay Bhattacharya now can look through all of the files and find Anthony Fauci's fingerprints all over it.
Very soon. Okay. That specific link, correct, between the gain-of-function research and what we saw with COVID-19. I mean, that would be extraordinary because just so the audience knows, if that's true, if it was Peter Daszak's research with the Wuhan so-called fat lady that caused this pandemic, then we did fund it. Then Anthony Fauci helped fund the pandemic.
The thing that he denied over and over and over to Senator Rand Paul's questioning.
Okay, so he denied it. They have to find the absolute proof. This is the first time they've looked or even been allowed to look. That's where Tulsi Gabbard is smoking on this thing. I don't know that there's proof there, but we haven't been allowed to look. Is it illegal to look? Do I get canceled and banned for looking? Remember how draconian they went with the COVID protocols, guys. It was absolute government overreach, even into the church, even into your free speech, canceling people on platforms, etc. But wait, there's more. FBI, Kash Patel just announced this on the Clintons. FBI agents uncovered evidence of a pay-to-play at the Clinton Foundation in 2016. Department of Justice leadership and McCabe ordered them to shut it down. We've now declassified the memo. This is proof of political interference at the highest levels. Shut it down. Bombshell. FBI timeline exposes political interference in the Clinton corruption probe. Pay to play. We're going to go over their list of donors in just a minute. But first, I just wanted to get back. This John Brennan guy was on the Jen Psaki show lying about...
Well, Jen, just looking at the optics, it's clear that the arrival, in terms of how he was greeted, again, an international pariah, a war criminal who was basically embraced by the President of the United States on a red carpet in the United States. So I think you could see on Putin's face, he felt very, very comfortable. And the fact that he was given a ride then in the presidential limousine, the Beast, I certainly hope the Secret Service has swept that vehicle very well in terms of any type of, small microchip that might have been put in the vehicle.
Conspiracy theorist right there. John Brennan, he's going full QAnon on us. I hope they swept the vehicle for chips that Putin gets a ride in the Beast, in Trump's vehicle, and his agenda is to drop a bug in there. These guys are so anti-Trump and psycho that he believes this guy, I can't believe he was ever in a state office. He's unglued. He's like a bipolar woman going nuts. He's unstable. And his Trump derangement syndrome is on fire. Wait, there's more. This is Trump. We did a video the other day on Hillary Clinton saying if Trump could pull this off with Putin, which he did not get the ceasefire, she said she would nominate him for the Nobel Prize.
In fact, did you see that Hillary Clinton yesterday said that if you got this deal done and not capitulate to Putin, that she would nominate you for the Nobel Peace Prize?
If President Trump were the architect of that, I'd nominate him.
That was very nice. I may have to start liking her again.
He's so funny. I love his sense of humor. Here's Elizabeth McDonald. This is hard to try. With then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. After the 85 contributed $156 million to the Clinton Foundation, which Kash Patel is investigating this, more than half of its 2015 budget. This is just the first half of her term, the AP says. It did not reveal the names that were the 154 private visitors No one knows who met with her in the second half if this was pay to play. This is as declassified emails reveal Obama's Deputy Attorney General Sally Yates ordered FBI officials to shut down this investigation. So now they're opening the investigation back up and showing you what they were on the track of when Barack Obama told Sally Yates to demand they shut it down. Their pay-to-play corruption probe into the foundation for soliciting hundreds of millions of dollars from foreign and U.S. interests with businesses before her department. Donations to the Clinton Global Initiative plummeted 90% by 2018 because they had no more influence to pay for. She was out of office. All of the money stops because they were paying for influence. That's evidence right there. After Clinton lost and they pulled the plug, questions grow over whether the 31,000 emails Clinton destroyed are connected to this. I'll say yes. 2016, by helping to orchestrate Trump-Russia, George Soros, a major Clinton Foundation donor, met with Clinton for the American University of Central Asia. He's a benefactor, so this is George Soros is a name. Viktor Pinchuk, the Ukrainian steel magnate, pledged $10 million. Why is Ukraine giving to her? They're also involved with Burisma, which Hunter Biden was on the board of. Microsoft, Bill Gates, and the Gates Foundation, donors to the foundation, did lobbying activities. Steven Schwartzman, Fabrizio Frida, Susie Tompkins Buell, interpreter, longtime Clinton mega donor. Walmart, are we still shopping there? I don't believe in boycotts, but you know, Walmart and the Walton Family Foundation donated to the Clinton Foundation and also lobbied the State Department. Muhammad Yunus, founder of the Grameen Bank. There's another corrupt bank. ExxonMobil, Boeing, General Electric donated millions of dollars. Saudi Arabia, 10 to 25 million pledged, all dried up after Clinton leaves office. Kuwait, 10 to 25 million. UAE, 10 million to 25 million pledged. Oman, unspecified donation sums. Morocco, Bahrain, Norway, and Germany. Pay to play on Clinton. Kash Patel's looking into it. Now, I don't want to end you guys today and over the weekend on a negative note. I want to wash Hillary Clinton and Anthony Fauci out of your mouth. So here's Lee Zeldin, head of the Environmental Protection Agency. Culture, we're healing culture. Things can...
I've already seen this. No way.
I was a living zombie with dementia. My only be described as a miracle.
We have Chris Wright on, U.S. Energy Secretary. We are concerned about our...
Democrats don't have values. I don't know how they're going to get values. Do they go on Wheel of Fortune and say, I'd like to buy a value? Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the Happy Patriots are. We're going to end this lovely Friday night. Shout out to the Quad Club, to my people watching all 4 videos. You guys build me up and you make me happy. You're doing something incredibly positive. This job could...
Did we see this one already? I don't remember. I see somebody videos.
Be really hard. It could get old really fast. It could be really difficult. Then I read the comments from all of you. I have the best audience in the world. You guys...
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carmine Sabia for Explain America, and Senator Adam Schiff must be...
Congresswoman, you've been one of the leading voices against excessive U.S. involvement in this war in...
Hi, I'm U.S. Attorney Janine Ferris.
Going backwards for it. I don't know why they did that. I don't know why I did that.
Trump is back from his meeting with Putin. Before I inform you completely on what we need to know, welcome to Doug and...
I'm not going to tell you to buy this beer. I won't even tell you how good it tastes when it touches your lips. You didn't even notice I was holding a beer. Dilly dilly, you f***ing gooners.
Sydney Sweeney has great jugs of beer.
You see what I did there, right?
What's up, guys? Benny. Here's how you know you have gained full and total cultural control. Less than 24 months ago, this was how a major beer brand marketed to men and sports fans.
Impressive carrying skills, right? I got some Bud Lights for us. So, I kept hearing about this thing called March Madness, And I thought we were all just having a hectic month, but it turns out it has something to do with sports.
We'll never have to see that again in an advertisement. Instead, in the year 2025, advertisements look like this.
Sydney Sweeney has very canes.
Advertisements in 2023 looked like this.
The estimated hold time is now
From America's largest beer company.
6 minutes.
And a few short months later, advertising like that is inconceivable, and ads look like this now. It's real change. Short amount of time. And total cultural whiplash. Now, you will never, let me say this with certitude, never see Dylan Mulvaney in an ad ever again. You can prove that as an absolute matter of basic economics, but I can tell you that because the Sydney Sweeney ads went over so well for American Eagle, boy howdy, and we'll go through those economics, libs are losing their minds.
I see that shit.
Because you can't, of course, have hot chicks in an ad. Now, someone named Lizzo decided to create this. That's a response.
Look at that. Really?
Oh my gosh. Can I just pause right here? Can we just pause right there? There you go. Okay.
Mucho corto.
You failed to understand what year it is. Okay? You don't understand. You don't understand. We're not here anymore. Okay? We all have eyeballs and functional brain stems. Lizzo don't understand what year it is. If Democrats won the election, that's exactly right. Lizzo actually posted this, by the way. They're not in on the joke. Self-reflection and deprivation is not possible. That's great.
And I see
Let me tell you
what.
what. There is something that looks great. $10 million. Being paid. Oh, yes. After brand's trans scandal, Sydney Sweeney may well get the coveted Bud Light spokespersonship along with Shane Gillis, who's already their spokesperson. Here we go. From Radar Online. Blonde bombshell Sydney Sweeney is rumored to be the next celebrity ambassador of Bud Light. Industry analysts say anyone but you star could turn the recent controversy over the American Eagle jeans campaign into an appealing conservative consumers, possibly securing a lucrative endorsement deal. Experts estimate that Sweeney could earn a payday of $10 million from Bud Light's parent company, Anheuser-Busch. Full-scale deal were struck. The company has been working to recover from the 2023 advertising partnership with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney that prompted widespread backlash. The Mulvaney campaign cost billions in lost sales, revenue falling 15%. Sydney Sweeney could save Bud Light, they write. Celebrity endorsement deal called Sydney Sweeney a compelling candidate. He told the outlet Sydney Sweeney's American Eagle campaign delivered undeniable commercial impact. Denim sales surged, the brand stock climbed. That kind of performance makes her a compelling candidate for Bud Light. Brands that pay for reach, resilience, and realize Bud Light through partnerships with high-profile figures, including Peyton Manning, Emmitt Smith, Post Malone. However, data shows the brand's recovery, only 1.2 percentage points lost on its market. Chief Executive Michael Dowkeris acknowledged that rebuilding the customer base has been slower than he hoped. It's not the fast pace that we were expecting and we've been working on. Nevertheless, there's progress in place. Fox News contributor Jimmy Failla, among the first to suggest Sydney Sweeney, brand savior, hire Sydney Sweeney to be your next pitch person immediately because she's everything your brand needs to get back on its feet.
Back to Fox News Saturday night. It is week 2 of the Sydney Sweeney controversy. Personally, I think Bud Light should sign her. Instead of good jeans, she can talk about having nice cans. You know what I'm saying?
Jimmy.
Never sue the other driver after a car accident. There's a better way to get paid a way bigger check without having to go to court.
Not having nice cans. You know what I'm saying?
Jimmy.
Okay, Travis, also, don't overthink this. Sign Sydney Sweeney, put her in a tank top with Bud Light in her hand. Print money. You're welcome. I just saved your entire brand for free. Well, people have been saying it, and well, you would really piss off the old Bud Light. Remember this? Vice President of. He thought it was a great idea to have Dylan Mulvaney sell their beer because their brand had become fratty and out of touch and appealing far too much to men, she says. Too fratty is my brand. Okay. How's that work? Survey found just 12% of the people considered the ad offensive. 39% of people thought it was clever, and 40% were indifferent.
That's a good one.
This is the Sydney Sweeney Has Great Jeans ad. The 12% of people considered the ad offensive. So if you run the numbers, 12% of American women are considered morbidly obese. I'm just saying. Some suggest Sydney's could help Bud Light recover from the Mulvaney fiasco. Bud Light went with Dylan Mulvaney, sell beer, and their sales tanked. American Eagle went with Sydney Sweeney, jeans skills skyrocketed. The trans movement is toxic and bad for business. Pass it on. Sydney Sweeney's $10 million deal could do wonders for Bud Light. Marketers really said, yes, this is how we're going to appeal to the male sports fan. Yes, this is what we're going to do. So bewildering. It's amazing. Donald Trump has, of course, endorsed Sydney Sweeney, calling her hot. Fine. Praising American Eagle for not backing down. And this is a huge, huge plus for American Eagle. They haven't apologized. They haven't bent the knee. They haven't said, oh, we thought we... No. They're like, F you. We're going to become a meme stock. We sell jeans. Hot people sell clothes. That's the way advertising's always worked. American Eagle stock skyrocketing like a meme stock. Jumps 40%. Sydney Sweeney sparks latest meme stock rally as American Eagle jumps. Absolute euphoria. Crazy. And by the way, it's staying. Look at this look at this jump. And it's sticking around. Bud Light, on the other hand, hasn't recovered at all since the controversy. Bud Light saying has not recuperated from Dylan Mulvaney controversy, according to a former Anheuser-Busch executive. They haven't at all. How much damage? Well, 30% of their sales are down. Have you drank a Bud Light since the Dylan Mulvaney crisis? Nightmare? No, you have not. I don't think people ever will. I guess...
Old Spice Fiji deodorant smells like coconuts and palm trees, and it's gentle on my skin.
White liberal woman fatigue.
I experience a lot of climate anxiety. But...
What? Is it gonna rain? Is it gonna snow? I'm not okay. We know.
Everybody's saying, what radicalized you? What radicalized you? I don't know! My mommy told me to be a good person!
I visit hundreds of campuses every year, and I see it everywhere. Kids are...
You know, last week I was at the White House for a wonderful event that the president held for Purple.
I know I have a lot more. What's going on?
Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is the biggest, I think, one of the biggest thing of Trump's current.
Zero, Sean.
Zero. Wait, do you disagree? Yeah. Do you disagree?
Oh no, I think they're going to arrest him. I think that's the whole thing is to trick him to come into the U.S. and going to arrest him. He's a war criminal.
That he is. But
yeah,
I'm going to cover it with my buddy Michael, who is just stuck.
Day is never finished. Master got me working. Someday Master set me free. Dude, shut up. Master got me working.
What's up, guys? Spenny. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Yasmin Crockett from Texas, who's butt of a lot of jokes and has really been exploding onto the political scene in a very, very big way. Yasmin was ripe for somebody to go through and fact check who she is and where she comes from, because Yasmin obviously uses a fake accent and has been funded by billionaires and endorsed by billionaires and is in charge of a very poor and very crime-ridden district in South Dallas, a district that she may well lose when Texas redistricts. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we decided to take your advice, the advice of this channel and this chat, and go to South Dallas and expose her. We did, to the tune of...
Come on.
4,000 saves. We exposed Yasmin Crockett and where she's actually from. TLDR is that Yasmin Crockett was raised in a way nicer neighborhood than you, in a way more elite school than you went to. In total, Yasmin Crockett's education cost close to $1 million between the Mary Institute St. Louis Country Day School, that cost $35,000 a year just to go to high school there, the Rhodes College, the private gilded Hogwarts-looking institution in the rolling leafy hills of Memphis, or the Houston Law Center that costs another $40,000 a year. Rhodes College costs $75,000 a year. Yeah, that's $1 million bucks. Anyway, the point is that she's an elite from Missouri who was raised with extreme privilege and not the hood rat congresswoman that she plays on TV. Well, it turns out that Texans are kind of tired of that and getting carpet-bagged. And now, Sarah Gonzalez from The Blaze confronted Yasmin Crockett at a town hall, calling her a fake hood rat and establishing that she is indeed a privileged and pretentious elite.
I erased 7 years of foot neuropathy with these. Stop throwing money at drugstore gimmicks and chemical-laced creams. Bandu foot patches are a natural, podiatrist-approved alternative, trusted by thousands. These $13.99 detox patches are helping people with foot neuropathy, swelling and poor circulation, chronic foot fatigue, inflammation, and toxin buildup. Apply them.
I used to stay at my granny's house. She was one of my favorite people in the entire world.
Jasmine! The people of Dallas deserve better than a fake ghetto hood rat! Do they know you're a rich kid from Missouri? Do they know you're a spoiled rich kid from Missouri? Don't touch me. No, ma'am. Don't touch me. Get your ass out of here. Get your ass out of here. Get her off me. Get off me. Get off me. I'm on you. I'm standing still. Get her off me first. Yes, she is. I'm standing still. Do your people know you're a spoiled rich kid from Missouri?
Violence against women.
Get off me! Get the fuck!
All right, let's go. Let's go.
Are you proud?
Just in case I gotta cuff you up. Let's just go.
For what?
Let's go. I'm telling you to leave.
Oh my goodness. Spicy meatball from Sarah Gonzalez. She's a host at The Blaze, and she said correctly that Yasmin Crockett is, in fact, a carpetbagging fraud who is an elite from Missouri. She's not at all from Texas. She's playing, and I find this particularly hilarious, she's playing someone who's from the ghetto. She's not. And she has a very different affect and voice. She changes it constantly in order to try and play a character on TV. There's nothing we hate more than inauthenticity on the internet. That's a matter of fact. You can see this fake affectation from Yasmin Crockett.
All the time, as somebody that's a child of a preacher, Listen, most black people are not Republicans simply because we just is like, y'all racist.
See how she talks? Again, I cannot establish more that she comes from the single most elite background that you can really have. $35,000 a year is what her grade college for 75.
Can't hang out with the KKK in them. That's really what it is. But when we think about who we are as black people and we think about where we come from, most black people have very conservative values, right? But the reality is that, like, we just can't side with, like, the neo-Nazis in them. We're not dealing with y'all like that, right?
Not like that.
You can see even on stage, like, everyone's like, this is, I mean, she's an actress. I mean, I guess you gotta appreciate that she has committed to her acting routine, right? She's definitely all in on the character. This is funny. My new hero, spoiled rich kid from Missouri. It's true. This is incredible. Jasmine Crockett getting called out for being a fraud. People deserve better than a fake ghetto hood rat. You are a spoiled rich kid from Missouri. She is, in fact, a disgrace to all of Texas. Texas deserves better. This is, of course, precisely the point that I made when we were on Sarah's show, and, well, this is the collab that we've all been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. This was us commenting on what's going down in our reporting on Jasmine Crockett. I had no idea that Sarah Gonzalez was going to take this to heart and then go hit the streets. Ladies and gentlemen, here we are. Working class stolen valor, we call it. Here's the explanation.
I saw this and I was like, damn it, Benny, why didn't I get to this first? Because she's in my backyard, and you, as smart as you are, were like, I'm going to come expose this guy, or this woman, and expose you did. So tell everyone what kind of a code switcher hood rat Crockett is.
Yeah, so you would have had to go to where Jasmine Crockett's really from, because what she's doing is using the Dallas area. She's not from there. She has no roots there. She has no connection to Dallas whatsoever. Shows how low the barriers to entry are in the Democrat Party. You would have had to go to St. Louis, Sarah, and I don't know if you want to go to St. Louis.
No.
But the parts of St. Louis, there are some parts of St. Louis you don't want to go to, but there are some parts of St. Louis that are actually some of the nicest neighborhoods you've ever seen in your life. Like, think of the house that Mark and Patricia McCloskey lived in, that giant mansion that everyone was like, is this a museum? No, that's actually what houses look like in the Republican suburbs of St. Louis. And they're gorgeous and beautiful and leafy and manicured. And the people wave on their way to their HOA meetings on their beautiful, pristine lawns. It's a wonderful place to live. In fact, inside of that exact area is where Jasmine Crockett went to school, a place called Mary Institute of St. Louis County Day School. Anytime it has day school behind it, it means it's very, very fancy. That's where Jasmine went to school. It's not just a good school, Sarah. It's the best school in the entire state of Missouri. It's nationally ranked as one of the best preparatory schools in America. It's so elite that the test scores leaving that school are some of the highest in the entire nation. That's where Jasmine Crockett went to high school. It costs $35,000 per year. There's a private lacrosse field as well as a sunken, grassy Wimbledon court right there on campus, along with its own private bass pond. Crockett, of course, went directly from there to Rhodes College in the rolling leafy hills outside of Memphis, Tennessee. That cost $75,000. That's another $40,000. So if you total it all together, it's very close to $1 million worth of not only higher, the highest levels of education you can possibly get. And I don't know about you, but I went to community college in a hog field in Iowa. And so, boy, I can speak English. And so, it's something that is a real curiosity to me. And if you'll allow me to just finish my long-winded thought here, which is this. This isn't rare. This is normal in the Democrat Party. It's called working class stolen valor. It's practiced by the elites inside of the Democrat Party, whether you're Zoran Mandami, Kamala Harris, or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or Jasmine Crockett. You are embarrassed that you come from wealth and privilege. You have to make up stories, fanciful stories, in order to try and prove that you have some type of bona fides with the working class of which, and the welfare class of which you are constantly trying to appease and pander to. Remember AOC saying they just out here to steal bread, right? And everyone's robbing a Nike store, the Nike/bread store, right?
Right.
And this is exactly what Jasmine Crockett's doing. It's endemic in the Democrat Party. Kamala Harris says she worked the fries at McDonald's. Give me a break.
All right, looks like this is it right here. Just look at it. Tune in today. Just don't forget to hit the like button as you walk out, or if you're going to bed. You know, I just took a stay up a little bit late, but I know you guys are getting tired. So you guys all enjoy, and I don't know, we might go live early for that Monday one. You'll see this little bastard come in. So yeah, I don't know, I might go live early for that one. There's so much, guys, I'm telling you, I got so much stuff to keep going, man. But I know you guys are tired. So thank you. Adios, everybody. Enemies here still, I don't know. Hey, listeners here still. Because they have nothing better to do at nighttime. Because they stay up all night. They sleep in the morning time. They're clucking roaches.